A beautiful day.
Grab a soda or grab a pop or grab a, beer.
A pop?
It's soda.
Yeah, I just wasn't expecting you to say pop. Did you say pop? Did you say pop growing up?
I've been watching Fargo.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
you get a pop.
Yeah, you do get a pop.
Yeah, you just open up a cold one.
I mean, growing up here in Southern California, everything's a Coke.
Oh, that's
You
interesting.
know, everything's a Coke.
In the South, it's like that. When I played in southern states, like it was always like, y'all want lemonade Coke, or you want like that Coke, or you want root beer Coke? I'm just like,
Right.
what the heck? Why do you put Coke in everything?
Now, here are the guys.
Yeah, happy Tuesday to those who celebrate Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. And do we have an announcement for all y'all?
Woo!
Okay.
Woo!
So join us on the Friday before the big game. You know the big game we're talking about for the Big Rich, TD, and Fletch big game tailgate.
You're talking about Buck Norris.
Yeah, Buck Norris is going to be out there, our show mascot. But we're going to be at KMB Bistro, our first live show. We're taking the show on the road. We're getting the band together over at KMB Bistro. Tony Kanja announced this on Friday, if you're listening during the 8 o'clock hour. And Tony Kanja is going to welcome us in. We're going to have catered food from Sombrero's Mexican food. We're going to have all of these prizes and giveaways, and we're going to have excitement and swag bags for our listeners who come out and join us for the festivities. And here is a couple of little wrinkles that we added to the equation yesterday. We are giving away to one listener a very, very special prize.
I thought you were going to announce it right there.
We are
Breaking news.
Thank you. Sorry.
That's what you're waiting on?
I guess so. I wasn't waiting on anything. I was just pausing for dramatic effect, and Fletch found the right button.
Yeah.
We are giving away a 65-inch television to a listener who comes in, signs up with the promo team at KMB Bistro on the Friday before the big game. And then after our show, because the party goes from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. at KMB Bistro, we are going, what time?
7 to 9?
7 to 9. Oh, yeah, our show ends at 9.
Yeah.
Anyways, details.
I can hang out till 10. It doesn't matter.
Well, we're going to be busy because after the show, we're taking the television that will be sitting next to us at KMB Bistro. We're loading it in the back of the Taco Ma, and we're going to drive it to whichever listener wins this prize. We're bringing it to your house.
Now, what happens if the listener, say, lives in Temecula?
We're driving to Temecula, boys.
Maybe we might have to get some wine.
Well, the biggest thing is we're encouraging everybody to get out to KMB Bistro to join us. So you have to show up in person, submit your name, and then we are going to drive the television out. This way you have a huge screen to watch a big game on. Also, I was having a chat with our friends over at the Man Zone. Dr. Roy David, board certified plastic surgeon. He's the medical director of the Man Zone, where I've been getting testosterone for the past couple of months. He is offering a gift certificate to cover your expenses for your consultation, your first test to see if your T levels are up, and your first month of testosterone treatment if you are a qualified candidate.
How about that?
So if you show up, we're going to give you tests.
So
Can I enter to win that prize?
Yes. Did he test your testosterone and go, whoa, it's off the charts. You should drink some Prime.
Yeah, you freaking nerd.
Wait, what? What's wrong
Why
with
are you
that?
drinking Prime?
What the hell is this?
That's whose drink is
That's
that?
Logan Paul and Jake Paul's
Yeah,
drink.
there you go.
Oh, I just saw it. It said strawberry watermelon.
There's an hour and a half South Park special that came out like 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago now.
Oh
Where the
my gosh,
entire
yeah,
episode they're making fun of that drink.
And it was like sludge or
Well,
whatever.
it's cred.
Cred.
Because you gotta have credibility if you're drinking Prime. And Cartman has the most cred in the freaking school, bruh.
When it first came out, Caleb, my son, was like on the waiting list for it, and it was this red, white, and blue bottle, and it literally tasted like you melted down those
Ice
bomb
pops.
pops.
All right,
Yeah,
make sure you turn your camera on and then do a review, because that stuff on the internet goes gangbusters.
Okay.
Because every kid that's 14 years old and younger is obsessed.
a Prime review.
A Prime review. Well, what's crazy about it is Annie bought it home one day. I think she was
The
just
kids were probably asking for it. They're like, Mom, I need the cred.
I need the cred. She brought it home and I was like, oh, this is the flavor she brought home I didn't like. And then I saw it in the store. So it's marketing works really easily, right? Like you see one thing once, you try it, you're familiar with it, and all of a sudden you try it again. Yeah, so this flavor, whatever it is pretty decent. Hang on, I'm logging onto our stream. There we go.
Yeah, whoa.
There we are.
There it is.
All right, so here it is. This is prime. Okay, that's strawberry.
Do you feel cool?
I actually do. I mean, now that I know that this is Logan, did you say Logan Paul made
It's the
this?
one. Yeah.
I mean,
Do you feel younger or just
He claims the company is has a valuation of over $1 billion.
I haven't had a sip yet.
sharks?
Yeah, sharks. I want to talk to you about my new drink, Prime. Okay, what I do is I convince people to buy something that's supposed to hydrate you. Meanwhile, water is abundant and available everywhere, and you can just drink that, and maybe even salt your food, and you'll be all right. But anyways, no, I'll give it a sip. Here we go. That is the most delicious sports drink I've ever had in my life.
For real?
I am not joking. This might be, I mean, that's mana straight from the heavens. I mean, that is the elixir.
Okay.
That is
Prime it is. You got cred.
The panacea that I've been searching for my entire life. That is the honey to my mead. Where have you been?
What was that word you said?
Panacea?
Yeah, what's that? I thought that was like something that happens during childbirth.
I think, no, that's placenta.
Yeah.
That's
Wait, I was trying to figure out what you were talking about. Good Lord.
Jesus Christ. What the hell is going on?
But,
anyways, pick up some Prime. It's got placenta in it.
What is Panacea? Is that when all the continents were stuck together?
That's Pangea.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
I think a Panacea means like a cure-all, but you'd have to look it up. I don't know. I heard the word once. I believe it was in a Charles Dickens novel. Anyways.
I think Panacea is what Kristen Juszczyk is making all for the ladies, the wives of the Super Bowl players.
No, that's lingerie.
Oh.
Yes.
She got a licensing agreement, by the way.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, the NFL and her, I guess, came to terms on a licensing agreement. So guess what? You should be able to buy those in stores for several $1,000s.
Yeah, they don't look cheap. Speaking of not cheap, the Chargers just spent more money than any other team on hiring their head coach. And the story has been completely buried with the postseason as it continues. But it's interesting what's happening in the AFC Wild West is what we coin it now, because you have Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos out there with Russell Wilson. Will he or won't he be the starting quarterback of the Denver Broncos? We don't know.
Please no.
The Raiders have hired Antonio Pierce after successfully taking over for Josh McDaniels after his firing and becoming the interim head coach. The players basically said, it will be open revolt if you don't hire this man as a head coach. So they did. And then after firing also Dave Ziegler, the general manager, the Raiders stole Tom Telesco after his firing in LA from the Chargers. He's now the GM of the Raiders. Then you look at what's going on with the Kansas City Chiefs. Their season's not over. They're playing for their next Super Bowl title against the San Francisco 49ers, which brings us back to the Chargers, who have Jim Harbaugh fawning over Justin Herbert. And I just look at this. This is the most interesting division once again in the NFL, and it involves the Chargers doing something they've never really done.
Yeah, and I mean, this is now you're looking at this going, I'm going to cross my fingers. I'm going to hope this is awesome, because that's what it's been billed as the past couple of seasons. It was supposed to be awesome, and it should be on paper. On paper, it should be very, very cool. I think the Raiders have some work to do. They've got to shore some things up, but there'll be a player, I would think. I love Antonio Pierce as the coach there, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But on paper, this should be fantastic.
I don't know if you guys saw Jeremy Fowler yesterday. I can't remember where he was, but he was talking about Russell Wilson being traded to the Las Vegas Raiders. So the division that we're talking about right now could actually get even more crazy if there's an incestuous trade between the Broncos and the Raiders inside the AFC West.
Wow.
Man, can you imagine,
said he expects it.
Wow.
He expects it.
Yeah.
So if Russell Wilson ends up with the Raiders after the Raiders not really stole, but after the firing of Tom Telesco, they collect him from the Chargers. They have this weird amalgamation of parts from the rest of the AFC West teams. If it ends up working out, I mean, that is the most Raiders thing ever.
Well, Jeremy Fowler isn't Adam Schefter, but he's closer to Adam Schefter than he is to Ben Fletcher, if that makes sense. You know, like I don't
on the spectrum.
Yeah, he's not the most trusted news source in the world, but he's closer to that lane. And so he's saying he's expecting Russell Wilson to be traded from the Broncos to the Raiders. I'd say at least there's smoke there. There might not be fire.
Focus on the Broncos for a second. So you look at what they did this season, obviously kind of lurched out of the gate and then found themselves a little bit. That defense, after getting just bushwhacked by the Dolphins, figured something out, because a 70-0 thumping turned it around. Defense started playing a lot better. Offense looked pretty stable the entire season. Russell Wilson looked a lot better than he did in 2022. So when we project forward, it feels like Russell Wilson obviously is going to be traded. He will not be a part of the Denver Broncos next year. That's the reason why he was benched for Aiden O'Connell down the stretch of the season. But do you see the light for the Denver Broncos, especially knowing there's so many question marks at quarterback?
Not yet. I don't feel like the light's there yet. I mean, if it is, it's in the distant future. At least that's what it feels like to me. Russell Wilson did not have bad numbers. Russell Wilson did not have a bad season, but for whatever reason, it's not working in Denver. Something does not fit right. This is a square peg in a round hole. It is not coming together. So it's probably best if they move on from Russell Wilson. But it does feel like they're going to start over. And I would imagine as they try to get some of these pieces in place, a lot of that defense that came together towards the end of the season will be decimated.
Well, think about this for the Broncos, TD. This should actually get you a little excited. They're currently sitting at the number 12 overall pick in this upcoming draft. Now, last year they didn't even have a first-round pick, I believe. And so this year they have one. They could probably trade up. And who are the names that are going to be available in the 10 to 15 range? Michael Penix Jr., potentially, if he falls that far. Like, you could be looking at getting your franchise quarterback in the draft this year, because there's 5 of them that are expected to go in the first round, and you're sitting at 12. So potentially Broncos are just looking to go in a whole new direction. Now, does Sean Payton want to start over with a brand new green quarterback coming out of college? I don't know the answer to that. But if they're talking about seriously trading Russell Wilson away, you got to think that means there's somebody in the draft they're looking at.
I kind of feel like they do. Or he does. Like, I really do feel like Sean Payton wants his identity all over the Raiders. Like, he doesn't want it to be
Broncos.
The Broncos. Thank you. He wants his identity all over the Broncos. He does not want a situation where somebody goes, yeah, I mean, Peyton won, but he did it with Breeze and he did it with Russell Wilson. Now, if things were going really well with Russell Wilson and there were no issues whatsoever, maybe he would have stuck it out, because, you know, if he wins a Super Bowl with Breeze and he wins a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson in Denver, and he, you know, at some point he goes off into the sunset as one of the best coaches of all time and won a Super Bowl with 2 separate franchises, 2 separate quarterbacks who will both end up in the Hall of Fame if that were the case, well, then great. Yeah, I'm sure he would have been fine. It didn't go that way. Nathaniel Hackett and the 20 dirty hands around him, or whatever it was, the quote from Sean Payton, apparently ruined him. And so now he's got to move on. And I do think I think they want to go in a completely different direction. And outside of like luring Tom Brady back out of retirement to play for him, I think they're going to draft the quarterback and he's going to try to rebuild.
Well, Tom Brady's going to go to Michigan. I think he's an amateur status now. He can go back to college.
That's right.
Bill Belichick will go coach at Michigan. It'll be Belichick and Brady again. It's a done deal already. We already know that.
The Wolverines, they're moving on. Yeah, that's
exactly.
Right.
Sean Payton, if you could have fixed Russell Wilson, if there would have been a massive uptick and a massive upswing that showed the Broncos were coming together, he would have his stamp all over the Broncos. I mean, fixing Russell Wilson would be a gigantic feather in Sean Payton's cap, even if there wasn't anything to fix, even if it was just Russell Wilson had a bad year 2 seasons ago. But it would be looked at that Sean Payton fixed him. The first 4 weeks of the season, Sean Payton couldn't get Russell Wilson to wear an armband. There was an argument every single week about you have to wear the armband so you know the plays. I mean, it was a bad start. It was a bad start to that marriage.
Yeah. Well, now that's the fix with somebody coming out of college.
Sean Payton was like, I want you to drink Prime.
Yeah.
And he was like, I won't do it. He's like, yes, you will. You'll drink some Prime.
Because you look at the success that CJ Stroud had with the Texans this year, and it was clear that the Texans were an extremely well-coached team. And if Sean Payton believes in himself as being able to run a really well-coached team, which we saw in years for New England or New Orleans, then getting somebody out of college might be the way to go. And I think seeing the success that CJ Stroud gives him hope that a Michael Penix Jr., who could fall to 12 in this draft, might be able to have similar results in Denver.
Coming up in just about 5 minutes, we are going to get into a beloved coach. And I mean a beloved coach who might lose his job. You got to hear this. But before we do, just to cap things off in the AFC West, like, I mean, when you really think about the Raiders, the Chargers, the Broncos, can anybody compete with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and what the Chiefs have built?
Ask me that 6 weeks ago, I say absolutely. Ask me that today, I say no chance.
Right. I'm in the exact same boat. In the exact same boat.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The Kansas City Chiefs have built this big red machine around big red Andy Reid, and it's amazing. I mean, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, they have never looked better than they did during that AFC Championship
Now, a couple
game.
question marks. How much longer is Travis Kelce going to play?
Right.
How much longer is Andy Reid going to coach? Because I feel like once those two pieces are gone, some of the magic is gone too. But I've doubted Patrick Mahomes in the past, and I've been wrong every time.
Yeah, yeah, it's impossible to doubt him anymore. Because
No, and I hate the fact that the freaking Niners are favorites in this game.
Well,
The big one, the big game.
the line is moving around, though.
It's
It
jumping like
opened at
crazy.
2.5, and then there was a ton of money on the Chiefs, and it got knocked down to just a point, and now it's back up to 1.5. So who knows what it's going to be in
You
10
could
days.
get it at 4.5 yesterday for the Niners. And I'm like, what the hell are we doing here?
Wow.
Is
Get
that
it
true?
On DraftKings for a little bit.
Wow.
Not long.
Yeah.
but it was
Also,
there.
The Super Bowl tickets that were selling for $10,800 was the cheapest ticket yesterday, down to $6,400.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, so
well, hey,
yeah.
let's get in.
I
You know what
know.
else I
We're
saw
going to
yesterday?
Vegas,
Now's the
boys.
time.
Before we get to halftime, there were a couple like casino influencers that I saw online who got free tickets who were immediately turning around and selling them.
Oh yeah,
And they were selling them for like 25 grand.
yeah.
Wow.
I guess as long as you own the licensing to the tickets, you're allowed to do that. But it's absurd.
So like
Well-
casinos are spending some serious coin on this money and giving it to influencers, and they put up a video immediately and be like, I'm selling this for $25,000. You
Nice.
want it?
Nice. I'll tell you who's going to the Super Bowl just by looking at the airport there in Las Vegas. The parking lot is full, and I'm talking about the parking lot for private jets.
oh yeah,
You can't. It's I mean,
yeah.
it's all locked up. There is no more room except for one, Taylor Swift.
Yeah, and speaking of Taylor Swift, reportedly her financial impact on the league this season is north of $300 million, including gate revenue and ticket purchases and jersey and merchandising and viewership and all those things. Now, it's an estimate. It could be higher, it could be lower. My guess is higher. Moving on, the Lakers lost last night by a score of 135-119. The game got a little chippy, though, against the Houston Rockets. Lakers forward Jared Vanderbilt was ejected in the first half for a run-in with Dylan Brooks. Several members of the Lakers defended Vanderbilt's actions against Brooks. Lakers fall to 24-24 on the season. Aztecs back in action tonight on the road in Fort Collins, Colorado. They're going to take on the Colorado State Rams. San Diego State sits at 16-4 in the season, ranked third in the Mountain West. Tip-off tonight in your home of the Aztecs. San Diego Sports 760 right here at 6 p.m. Pregame beginning at 5 o'clock with John Schaefer and Ben Fletcher.
Big game.
Big game. And then there's this, and this is what we need to get into. So a beloved head coach who may get run out of town. Are we kidding? Okay, so Dan Campbell has been the topic of conversation, the topic du jour over the past 24 hours because of his fourth down decision-making during that Lions loss to the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. Now, Dan Campbell, and I believe we played this sound yesterday. For anybody who didn't hear it, here's Dan Campbell at the podium defending what he did during that game. So there are analysts now calling for his job. There are people who come on TV every day and they talk about football and they're former football players or they're former coaches it's more than one who've said this is a fireable offense. Where are you out on this, TD?
Well, is it a fireable offense? If it maybe were anyone but Dan Campbell, maybe. But Dan Campbell has brought a culture to the Lions. He's brought hope to the Lions. He's brought fire to the Lions. He's brought the Lions to an NFC Championship game. He brought the first playoff win to the Lions in 32 years. I mean, Dan Campbell has brought a lot out to Detroit, and it doesn't mean that it stops here after the season. I mean, this train can keep rolling. I love Dan Campbell. I like what he does. I like what he says. I like how he fires me up when I see him out here on the podium. Maybe not that particular speech, but you know what I'm talking about, biting kneecaps and getting crazy. However, he lost that game for them. Not only on him, but the Lions lost that game. The Lions gave that game to the 49ers. So was he reckless out there? I know that's the term that's being thrown around. Yeah, probably a little reckless, but I think that's how he rolls. It's just the problem is you have to straddle the line between being aggressive and being reckless. And where he probably should have gone for points and not been so aggressive now looks reckless. But no, he's not losing his job.
Fletch, I want to get your thoughts, but before we do, I want to hear from Frank Ragnow, who is the center for the Detroit Lions, has been there for a lot of the losing, has now seen the transition into the Dan Campbell years. This was Frank Ragnow after the game by his locker, post-game, NFC Championship game, just lost. You heard what I said. There are people who think Dan Campbell should be fired for his decision-making. Here's Ragnow. So, Fletch, you keep him or you kicking him out the door?
Keep him 100%. It's not even a decision. I doubt it's a decision in Detroit. Like, they are sticking with their guy because he got them there, which look around Detroit. They haven't been there in a long, long time. Now, I will say to everybody criticizing Dan Campbell going for it on fourth down, I went back yesterday and watched the condensed version of that game on NFL Plus. Great subscription. But I went back and watched the condensed version. The first fourth down that he went for, which is when the momentum really swung back to the 49ers. Josh Reynolds dropped it.
Yeah.
The play was there.
It was a drop.
Yeah, that was a drop.
So everybody criticizing Dan Campbell, the play was there. Ben Johnson called it. It was the right play to call. The receiver won the route. They beat the defender, and he dropped the pass.
And it wasn't a bad pass.
No, it was a good pass, and it hit him in the hands.
Yeah.
And he dropped, and the coverage wasn't there. The guy was 3 feet away from him when the ball hit his hands. He dropped it.
That is true.
So
However,
everyone going after the play call, like, who knows? The field goal could have missed. Lots of things could happen. A field goal would have ended the game, I firmly believe. Also, a catch there ends the game. I firmly believe that. So the reasoning that behind the talking heads, and I saw exactly who you were talking about. It's one of the same guys who was going after Brock Purdy, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little ridiculous, and I wish they would watch the game a little closely.
Can you play that clip just one more time? Just a piece of it. Just start that just from the beginning.
Frank Ragnow?
Yeah. Just real quick. Okay, listen what's going on in the background.
I heard it. Ping pong.
Yeah, ping pong.
Yeah,
ping pong. You play a lot of ping pong after the championship game
After
loss?
losing I thought the exact same thing, T.
That's actually, I heard the same thing earlier when I listened to
on?
I mean, can you imagine if somebody's just like, ping pong, I play after we win, I play after we lose.
And
I
imagine
just
it's
love
Jared
it.
Goff.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? They said don't stop playing ping pong, but it really helps me concentrate during the games.
Feels like ping pong is a happy game. Like, I'm having fun playing ping pong. Like, after I lose the NFC Championship game, and someone's like, hey, so you want to play some ping pong?
I just pictured Dan Campbell at a ping pong table by himself, just like sad hitting balls into a
bucket.
What if he had the other side folded up so he's literally just playing against himself?
Oh God.
I'd like it better if he just had a bucket of 2,000 balls that he just kept hitting over and over again.
Just
Just
sad.
got lost in the locker room.
Tears just streaming down his face.
Exactly.
Just soaking his goatee. All right,
Yeah.
I'll give my 2 cents really quick here, and then we got to scram. But you're to say he should be fired, Dan Campbell, to be fired is removing all context. It's pretending like we are living in a one-game world. We're not. I'm sorry. Nobody should be judged by one singular moment in their life, in their coaching career, in their playing career. Even if it's the biggest moment of their career, you shouldn't be judged by only one moment. It was a big moment. There's no question about it. They had 10 drives. They had 5 touchdowns. They had, I believe it was 2 punts and 2 turnovers. I don't know if that maths. There might have been one missing drive there. But my point being, like, you had enough drives and you had enough opportunities if you kicked field goals instead of going for it that you probably didn't give the 49ers enough time to win that football game, considering how many points you have. It's just math. But at the same token, what he has meant to that culture, to that city, to that team, to those players, you just heard a guy who was playing on a sprained ankle and a sprained knee ligament. I mean, talking about how he would do it all over again for the guy because he's that motivating of a human being and a force in his life. So
national media's arrow should be pointed at the Ravens coaching staff, not the Lions coaching staff.
I completely agree.
Because the Lions lost playing Lions football. That's what got them there. The Ravens lost playing something else entirely.
Yeah, they were not playing Ravens ball.
Look how skinny TD is.
I know. Listen,
so skinny.
Coming up next,
so skinny.
We got to talk about whether or not weird works. But before we do that, I got to talk about something that does work. SD Fat Loss, look at him.
SD Fat Loss does work.
Oh my God.
I know. Easy, boys. Easy. Easy. Come on. I'm not just a piece of meat. Listen, before we started SD Fat Loss, not only was I a big fat fatty, but something was going on that I didn't realize was going on. I had inflammation. I had swelling in my feet, my ankles. Yeah, I had cankles, right? And like I'd come home and I'd take my socks off. It looks like I was busting open sausage casings. It was horrible.
We started calling them pound cakes around here.
That's right.
Because he was buttery, he was soft, delicious.
Do we have pound cakes?
I wish we did.
Yeah.
I love those, which, 80-20 rule. We're allowed to have 20% pound cake and then vegetables.
That's right. That's absolutely correct. No, but honestly, as we went through this weight loss phase here, and over the course of 8 weeks, I lose 31 pounds. I realized, wait, I'm not just losing pounds here. I'm losing the inflammation. All of a sudden, I'm not swollen at the end of the day. I feel better. I can move around better. When I go to bed, I actually fall asleep because I'm not sitting there groaning with the aches and pains. You just feel better. And I'm telling you, you will feel the exact same way. And you're going to feel that way quick because you're going to lose the pounds quick because Wayne, Chloe, they know how to do it right. And it's the healthy way to lose weight very, very quickly. And then the best part is you're going to keep that weight off. Head on over to sdfatloss.com. Go there right now. Sign up for a free consultation. You heard me right. My second favorite F word, free. So that's what's going to happen when you go to sdfatloss.com.
What's your first?
Oh, it's, of course,
frogs.
Yeah. Everybody knows that.
Amphibians.
Yeah. Exactly correct. sdfatloss.com. That's where you want to go. sdfatloss.com. Does weird work? We'll explain next.
This update presented by Lowe's. Starting off here with college hoops, San Diego State hits the road tonight. They're heading to Moby Arena in Fort Collins. It's a matchup with Colorado State. It's a biggie for the Aztecs coming off their bye weekend. Listen tonight, starting with pregame at 5:30. Tip-off with Ted Leitner at 6. Over in the NFL, Chargers, after hiring Jim Harbaugh to be their next head coach, have now hired Joe Ortiz to be their general manager. He was the director of player personnel in Baltimore previously, jumping from Harbaugh to Harbaugh. NBA last night, Lakers lost to the Rockets 135-119. Clippers fall to the Cavs 118-108. And the Suns took down the Heat 118-105. Get the appliances you need right away at Lowe's. Explore the largest assortment of brands you trust in-store or online at the best values. Plus, take advantage of their everyday financing offers. Lowe's knows home improvement subject to credit approval.
Big Rich, CD, and Fletch at San Diego Sports 760. Coming up on the show today, your opportunity to win some Doobie Brothers tickets. The concert happening June 25th, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, or just keep listening for your chance to win. You can go to livenation.com for tickets and info, or, like I said, keep it locked in here. We will be giving those away. Also, yesterday, inadvertently, apparently, the Sock Sock Shoo Shoo was a bit from All in the Family.
All in the Family, yeah. Archie Bunker and Rob Reiner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what's crazy.
What's All in the Family?
Old show.
Yeah, old show. So here's what's crazy, though. So I bring this up. I don't know that this exists here. Okay. I bring this up. And then you, Rich, don't know it either.
No.
We see the clip that's sent to us, and it's like we wrote the script.
So I have seen so few All in the Family episodes that I can honestly say I've never actually seen a full episode. I've seen clips of Archie Bunker, like all of us have.
Yeah.
But the further out we get from the actual airing of that show, which was in the 70s, by the way, the less that it really is known. I mean, yeah, what happened?
Fletch is going, who's Archie Bunker?
Dude, so it's a great point.
I think I recognize the other name you said. What was the other one?
Rob Reiner.
I recognize that name.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
recognize Archie.
No, so
Archie Bunker's the character.
The character. It's what's his name? Carol something. Carol. He's got a lady's name,
Yeah,
but he's
yeah.
he famous.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
You know, remember that Okay.
What's his name?
Sorry.
Carol something. Look
Yeah,
up Archie Bunker actor.
Okay, quick, more important question.
Yeah.
How
Carol Florence,
stupid
something
should
like
I
that?
look next Friday? I'm buying my outfit right now.
I mean, as dumb as you want, Chief.
Like,
I
but
mean,
should I just go cool Niner stuff, or should I go ridiculously stupid Niner
please,
stuff?
Carol O'Connor. Carol O'Connor.
Carol O'Connor. That was his name. Okay. So Archie Bunker was played by Carol O'Connor. This was one of those characters that was quoted forever, right? So anyways, Archie Bunker, All in the Family, they did this bit with sock, shoe, shoe. Rob Reiner sitting on the bed. He's putting on a sock and then a shoe. And then Archie Bunker goes, "What are you doing?" Literally has the same exact reaction I had to Fletch. And then at one point he goes, "Well, what if there's a fire?
What?
You're going to be wearing one shoe. You're going to be all off balance." I literally said the same thing to Fletch. I said, "What if there's an explosion?"
We promise you this was not staged. No, we did not plan this. Oh, it was very odd, but
Yeah.
But I also feel like, we're just walking with greatness.
We are.
Yeah.
We truly are. Okay, so that was interesting yesterday. Also, it was interesting, and this got kind of buried. I mean, absolutely buried by all of the excitement around championship weekend. Jim Harbaugh apparently has met Justin Herbert. So Jim Harbaugh, Michigan Wolverines head coach, who just won the national championship, now just signed by the Chargers to be their next head coach, has met Justin Herbert, and he was just guffawing over him like, "Oh, I have the vapors." What was the exact quote? Okay, yeah, somebody wrote it
Well,
down.
I have
here
the
on
sound here.
Oh, you have the sound.
So this is
Okay.
a minute and 4 seconds. This was at the stage on CBS Sports ahead of the Baltimore and Chiefs game, and it was Bill Cowher interviewing Jim Harbaugh, and it starts off with him talking about like the decision to leave Michigan, then
Right.
it quickly evolves into salivating over Justin Herbert. So take a listen. This is Jim Harbaugh.
I'd question that.
So he was cut off, Jim Harbaugh was, by Bill Cowher a little bit there when he said the line, but he goes, "I met Justin Herbert, Derwin James, and pros, Keenan Allen." He goes, "But I got to admit, I was a little starstruck when I met Justin." It's like, what? You were starstruck? First of all, that is complete hooey.
It's Jim freaking Harbaugh.
He's not starstruck by Justin Herbert. He's probably thinking to himself, like, "I thought your hair would be longer."
Well,
So is he kissing ass now as like learning from his mistakes with the 49ers, do you think?
Well, I think he was able to connect with players all right. I think his problem was he was asking too much of pros. He was asking too much of guys who have been in the league for 8 to 10 years, who have won championships or Super Bowls. And you have this guy who's fresh off the boat from Stanford telling you what's what. And meanwhile, there was success, but at the same token, you'll lose the locker room if you don't treat professionals like professionals. And I think that was the biggest problem in 49er land. But
Justin Herbert.
yeah. So I don't think this was ever vocalized, but it sure felt this way. Another head coach that was starstruck by their star quarterback, Nathaniel Hackett.
ooh, yes, that's right.
And that did not go well once that quarterback decided he gets the locker.
Also, didn't you kind of lose all credibility when he talked about Dean Spanos?
Okay,
he
but
talked about
hang on a
that?
second.
He
Well,
kinda
he lost
like,
credibility when he said this was the best team to
hang
win
on.
a Super Bowl with.
Listen, okay.
that too,
Okay.
because of all the history, right?
Yeah, all the history.
You guys though. I mean, we're just checking boxes here. I mean, you're starting the first day on the job as a head coach. You're like, we're gonna win it all.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course.
You
Yeah,
have to say. You have to say
You're not
that.
going to say we suck.
Yeah, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I hope this goes well.
It's a complete dumpster fire, and
Second
I'm
thing,
still looking for the fire
Spanos
extinguisher.
family just paid him some part of $20 million a year. I would say the nicest best thing about the Spanos
That's a
family.
good point.
True.
I mean, like, are you kidding me? I mean, that guy is going to be taking those checks to the bank.
I
So,
love Dean and his weird hair.
gosh, I mean, do you see his glasses? He's so handsome. And then
When he talks, he totally makes sense.
and then the third thing, this is who he is. He's just kind of a strange cat. And so if you listen to Jim Harbaugh talk enough in interviews or anything, like he'll talk too.
So
He's
the
not afraid.
sock shoe thing is one thing, but wearing the khakis up to the belly button, that's something else entirely. That is the mark of a true psychopath.
Well, I mean, that is
sock shoe.
you are trying to
Pretty
deflect.
weird.
There was a lot of
You're-
support on TikTok and Instagram for sock shoe.
Not as much
And
as
I'll
there
tell you where it
was.
came from. Golfers.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, it's like the weirdos comment.
Yeah.
Golfers.
Right. There was one golfer.
Yeah,
there was one guy.
golfer.
And
But-
immediately
One golfer.
you're like, see, I told them. all
There were other
about
people
golf.
say,
You
I'm
never
with the
brought up golf
psycho.
yesterday. Not once did you bring up golf yesterday.
I know, because I didn't think about it, but that is the genesis of this, and that's where it starts. Because you wear flip flops to the golf course generally, and then
Mhm.
when you're taking off the shoes in the parking lot, you got to do that like one.
It
you know.
just sounds like somebody lobbed you a pass under the hoop.
Oh, and I knocked it out of the
yeah,
park.
and you just slam dunked it because you're just like, I need an excuse because maybe I am a psychopath.
Yeah.
And somebody said golf, and you're like, yep, that's it.
That's it.
the
That's
one.
why.
Yep.
That's why I do that.
Uh-huh.
That's why I do that.
I'm a flamingo. All right, listen, we got to get to this one. Another NFL coach may be on the hot seat, and it's a name we did not see coming. But before we do that, I want to talk to you guys about my dentist, my doctor, Dr. Jordan Colby. I had a lot of work done over at Ocean View Dental. If you've been listening to this show, you've heard about it. I had a tooth extracted. I had 3 implants put in. This is a massive amount of dental work. And typically, actually, I was told specifically it would take 1.5 years to do this. And I was told that by my old dentist. And that's the reason why it's my old dentist, because I walked into Dr. Jordan Colby's office and he goes, no, I don't need to refer you to a million other places. No, you don't need to go anywhere else to have the oral surgery. I'm going to perform this for you and we're going to get it done in 3 months. And 3 months later, I had the bad tooth removed. I had 3 new teeth put in, and it's all thanks to the amazing staff over at Ocean View Dental. And one of my favorite parts about it is the office up in Oceanside. While you're sitting in the chair getting, your teeth cleaned or getting a cavity done, or in my case, having dental surgery, you're looking at the Pacific Ocean. It's got this amazing view of the water. So it's not just a clever name. And it's a family environment. When I bring my family or when I go there to get my dental appointments done, they know your name. They know why you're there. The whole staff is warm and welcoming. It really, truly, it's not like a dentist appointment. I go and I visit my dentist at Ocean View Dental. So like I said, the care I receive isn't unique to me. They treat everybody this way at Ocean View Dental. They got the one location in Oceanside. They got the other one in Fallbrook. Amazing professional and personal care that you deserve, that your family deserves. So if you're looking for a new dentist, and I know a lot of people don't like their dentist, I know I really didn't until I met Dr. Jordan Colby. It's time to make a change. OceanViewDental.net. That's OceanViewDental.net. The unlikeliest coach is the next potentially on the hot seat. That's next. Yeah, you are hearing the soothing sounds of the Doobie Brothers. We're giving away tickets on the show today, so keep it locked here for your chance to win. LiveNation.com for tickets and info. But we're going to be giving away Doobie Brothers tickets. Also, join us for Big Rich, TD, and Fletch's Big Game Tailgate. It's going to happen at Can Be Bistro. February 9th. It's the Friday before the big game. If you want to win a 65-inch television, you're going to need to show up. If you want to win a gift certificate that's going to pay for your first treatment at the Man Zone where I get my testosterone, then you're going to want to show up. We're going to have other prizes. We're going to have swag bags. You're going to be able to join us on our first ever live appearance since coming together as a show. This is pretty awesome, guys.
It's going to get weird.
Yeah, Tony Conja's going to be there. Bartender Jay, I believe.
Jay Kennedy.
He might wear a thong and only a thong.
That might happen.
Jesus,
it might happen.
Pray that's the case.
Can I buy him a 49ers thong?
I think that's...
I don't know if that's right. I don't know if you can do that.
Maybe a Chiefs thong?
Sombreros Mexican food. Am I allowed to say that by now?
Yeah.
So we have been.
Okay. Oh, yeah, of course. I heard it all.
We just say that.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Who is Buck Norris a fan of?
Buck Norris? America?
Okay. No. What?
Our show mascot is going to be out there defending our troops as he always does.
That's right.
Yeah, Buck Norris. I can't wait to share him with the rest of the world. He just sits prominently, proudly, stares at us every single morning. Really an incredible inspiration to us all.
It really reminds me of Bambi's dad.
I've been shopping for a real buck mount.
Sweet God. So excited.
Couple $100
to put Buck Norris on?
No. Like an actual, like one was shot. And now it's been mounted. You know, like a talking head at the Country Bear Jamboree.
Where would you like to put this?
Just like on the wall here somewhere.
Yeah, we need to start hanging our pelts. We need to start hanging our pelts.
You don't think that'd be cool?
So at the end of the season,
awesome.
There was conversation about Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. Okay. So Mike Tomlin, he hasn't really, I should say this. The regular season has gone better than anybody could imagine it'll go with an aging Ben Roethlisberger and then them really missing on Kenny Pickett. It doesn't look like that's panning out at the NFL level at all. Mitchell Trubisky has been, I don't know, I guess you could call Band-Aid on a gushing wound at quarterback. And then Mason Rudolph has been bouncing around that roster, and he got some starts this season. It just hasn't been very good for a pretty long time now. Some playoff bursts mixed in there, but unfortunate results. And now Art Rooney has spoken out. He's the owner of the Steelers. He said, we've had enough of this. It's time to get some wins. It's time to take these next steps. The players still respond to Mike, and that's the number one. He's still the key characteristics that we saw in him when we hired him. He can keep the attention of the group of 20-year-olds for a whole season and keep them in the fight the whole way. So we still feel good about Mike, obviously, but if I didn't, we would make a change. If we didn't think Mike was able to lead us to a championship, he wouldn't be here, and that's why he is here. But there's all that, and that's a lot of nice things he said about Mike Tomlin, but he also started with it, we've had enough.
Yeah.
And here's the biggest problem with Mike Tomlin. We talk about the regular season record over and over again. He never fails to get over 500 or at least at 500 for a season. That keeps them out of the top half of the first round of the draft. And it has kept them out of that first round or the top half of the first round for decades now. So you look at this year's draft, they're drafting 20th because they ended on that 3-game winning streak, which allowed Rich and me to eat the chip along with TD, but also screw you, Mike Tomlin. But the 10-win seasons over and over again keeps them from getting those high-value draft picks in the first round.
You think the people of Pittsburgh or the fans of the Steelers would rather see a losing season to get a high draft pick?
It only takes one.
Well, I mean, I also think a losing season would only take one to say bye to Mike Tomlin, at least in the current situation. But I mean, right now, what Rooney's saying is if he doesn't start to change the playoff picture here and get some wins under the belt there, then it's all done.
They need to be very honest about Kenny Pickett and realize he's not the guy, which I think they did at the end of last season.
Yeah,
so they need to be able to start over at that position.
I don't think that Kenny Pickett is long for the starting position at quarterback on the Steelers roster. And if that's the case, then, I mean, are they in the Russell Wilson conversation?
Could be.
You know, are they going to be looking to trade up in the draft and spend some capital? Because I'll tell you right now, desperation is a stinky cologne, but desperation is also sometimes necessity is the mother of invention, or in this case, reinvention with Mike Tomlin. So did they go after one of these high prize quarterbacks in the draft?
And of those 5, do any of them drop all the way to 20? Can you count
but
on
that's
that?
what I'm saying. You spend draft capital to trade up to get one of them. You know what I mean? Because you're going to have to go all in probably to get one of them, because there's a lot of QB needy teams ahead of the Steelers on that draft board.
And after the Super Bowl, we're going to start to see all the fake news and the narratives about these 5 quarterbacks who are projected to be in the first round.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see who's rising, who's falling like crazy, who's going to be the Will Levis of this year that is sitting next to his girlfriend the entire first round and then falls out of the first round entirely. It's going to be exciting.
You want to see Will Levis or Will Levis's girlfriend?
She's single now.
Yeah, that's right.
She dumped him.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's yeah, and she gets, by the way, harangued every time he has a good game on social media, which is very, very funny. All right, coming up next, we have our morning monologues. We'll pass those along to you. We're going to play a rousing game of Wheel of Football. And also the biggest story of the season, it was staring us in the face the whole time. That's next.
We're number 2, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This update presented by Jackson Hewitt. We are going to start off this morning with college hoops. San Diego State hits the road tonight to Moby Arena in Fort Collins. It's a matchup with the Colorado State Rams. It's a big one for the Aztecs coming off their bye weekend. Listen tonight, starting with pregame at 5:30. Tip-off with Ted Leitner at 6. NBA last night, Lakers lose to the Rockets 135-119. Clips fall to the Cavs 118-108. And the Suns took down the Heat 118-105. Over in the NFL, Chargers have hired their next general manager. His name's Joe Ortiz. He was the director of player personnel in Baltimore previously, so he's jumping from Harbaugh to Harbaugh. When you get your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt, prepare to shout Jackson Hewitt from the rooftops. In the event you don't get your biggest refund, you will get your money back plus $100.
Woo! Happy Tuesday to those who celebrate Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. And it is a fun time around San Diego, and it's about to get funner because we are going to be a part of the celebrations leading up to the big game. Everybody knows the big game, you know? It's going to happen in Vegas.
Game?
The big game kicking off in Vegas?
Yeah, I'm here for the big game.
It is big, and it is a game.
So Big Rich, TD, and Fletch is going to have the big game tailgate to go to at K&B Bistro in Del Cerro. This is going to be February the 9th, the Friday before the big game. And if you go to K&B Bistro between the hours of, well, we're going to be there at 6, but anytime between 6 and 9, you're going to show up. There's going to be catered food from Sombreros. There's going to be great prizes and giveaways and swag bags.
That's right.
We're going to have a 65-inch TV to give away to a listener who shows up in person, puts their name down, and we're going to drive it to your house. We're going to drive it to your house after the show. We're going to drop off the TV at your house, and then you have a 65-inch TV to watch the big game on. Also, Dr. Roy David, board certified plastic surgeon over at Golden Triangle Plastic Surgery, the Man Zone. That's where I get my testosterone treatments. He is going to give out a gift card. He won't be there, but we're going to give out a gift card on behalf of the Man Zone for you to go in for your free consultation to get your levels tested. And if you're a candidate, he's going to take care of your first testosterone treatment at the Man Zone. So you could come show up to the Big Rich, TD, and Fletch big game tailgate, right? And you could leave with a TV and testosterone.
That's right. We also got some Big Rich, TD, and Fletch swag we're going to be handing out. Some of the show favorites will be there. Tony Kanja, of course, Keg and Bottle. Jay Kennedy, bartender, will be hanging out. We have some special guests. Hopefully you're stopping by. EB, I think, is going to hang out with us for a little bit.
Aaron Bauman.
Yeah. And then, of course, Buck Norris will be there, the show mascot. Which, if you want to get a picture with Buck Norris, we get it.
We take pictures with Buck Norris on the reg. No big deal. Coming up in just a little bit, we have TD's halftime, which is becoming a show favorite around here.
Is it though?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it is.
It's a
really
big deal. Okay. We got Wheel of Football. We also have the biggest story of the season that everybody has kind of missed. It's been staring us in the face the whole time. Before we get to all that, we got to get to our morning monologues.
I cannot believe I did not bring this up to you guys yesterday.
Yeah, what's up?
But this is something that happened over the weekend, and I'm a little bit scarred. I'm going to be completely honest. This happened on Saturday afternoon, and I was completely there mentally.
Wait, I know. You fell over while you were in a cucumber patch. This has happened to me.
Dude, not that far from that.
Wow. You know what I was going to go with is barefoot. You step in like dog vomit.
Oh, no. I actually did that this week.
My dog puked yesterday. Dude, what's going on?
What is happening?
And I was wearing a sock. It's even worse with a sock because then you're just like, oh, God.
Just one sock?
I was walking Little Brock around our condominium, and there's a ton of dogs in our condominium, and they're all lovely for the most part. This day on Saturday, this dog, and I hear him before I see him. It's not my dog. It's a different dog. Big Rottweiler. and he's mean sounding, right? Because Brock looks like a snack. So I pick Brock up because he's a little dainty little guy, and I'm walking him in my arms because I'm nervous that dog's going to go after him. And I hear Brock start to growl. I hear this other dog starting to go crazy, and I have to pass by this guy and this dog, this big, probably 75-pound Rottweiler. And as I'm walking by, the Rottweiler jumps up and bites me.
What?
Like, actually,
Let me see. Whoa!
What is going on?
You got like little faint teeth marks on the top. Like it's like whatever the space
it's the muffin
is.
top.
Yeah, the muffin
The
top.
dog went straight for my muffin top.
Boy,
And
that's
it
the best
got
part of the
me.
muffin.
Yeah, that
is
really
I
throw
mean,
away
come
the
on.
bottom.
I mean, you don't need
But
it.
I didn't even I didn't compute in my head because I've never had a dog bite me before. So I'm like, did this dog just effing bite me? If I was like a 40-year-old white woman, I would have sued the crap out of the guy. But of course, I was like, oh, it's okay. He didn't mean to.
Wait, what
He
if you were-
didn't mean to bite me. He lunged and actually chomped at you.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I'm sorry that happened. That sounds very traumatic.
But at least he didn't step in like warm dog puke.
It's
True.
How was the dog though? Is the dog
Dude,
all right?
Brock didn't even give an F.
So Brock doesn't care. What about the Rottweiler after getting a bite of your
Right,
muffin top?
right.
Probably wants more.
He's probably,
All of a sudden,
he's probably like, I don't like taste of
you
figs.
just see a paw like slipping love notes under the door at Kendall and Fletch's place. Like he's just like, I miss you.
Yeah.
Been waiting outside in the grassy knoll.
So should I sue?
I don't know if you can.
You're so
Maybe you can.
lean now.
I don't even know the guy. Like, he lives on the other side of the condominium. I
I-
haven't seen the dog
Wait.
since.
He lives on. Well, were you on the other side of the condominium?
No, I was just walking around.
Oh wait, was the dog on a leash? I forget.
It was on a leash. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's time. Well, I mean, I guess
I'm
he's-
not
He's
gonna
bit
sue.
you. I mean, he bit you.
He did bite you. Yeah.
Did you try to bite the dog?
No, I really didn't. It didn't compute in the moment. I'm being
Yeah.
dead serious. Like, I didn't even know it bit.
You should go back and bite the dog just to
point.
like prove
Yeah.
your dominance.
Yeah. You're the alpha.
Yeah.
You are
right.
the alpha. If you bite him, it's like Caesar Milan. It's like
Right. Or mount the dog. Because that's also a show of dominance.
dude, 100%.
Wait.
You got to bang that dog.
Yeah. Look,
Sorry.
this is a dog eat dog world.
Yep.
Okay.
Or
Or not.
All right, stop.
What?
okay. All right.
Who's
all right.
next?
It's the
All
only way.
All right, I'll go.
Okay,
I'll go
okay.
next. I was thinking about this after the AFC Championship game, especially with, how much talk about the Ravens and how good the Ravens are and the fact that the Chiefs have been dogs. No pun intended. Sorry, Fletch. Bring back some traumatic memories.
Who let them out?
Honestly, we still don't have an answer to the question posed
never been solved.
by the Baja Men post-millennium. But anyways, getting back to the point is, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have been underdogs for the past 2 weeks, and they're back in the Super Bowl. He's been to 6 straight AFC Championship games. He's going to his 4th Super Bowl in 5 years. It almost doesn't compute, but it does. Patrick Mahomes is Michael Jordan. It's just happening in this era. The 90s Bulls, they were so dominant that even when they were underdogs, and they were sometimes underdogs in the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA Finals, they still find a way because they had Michael Jordan. And that is exactly the same way I feel about Patrick Mahomes. When you have a game changer at the most important position, when you have a guy who has this insane ability to own the moment every single time, it's Mahomes. It's Mahomes, especially because it's happening, through his youth, and you can see a future the same way he did with MJ. So we're living through another era of greatness. I'm not going to let it pass me by. I think this is incredible what he's done so far.
I don't think you're wrong, because also that same feeling with MJ of the game's on the line, get the ball in his hands. It's the same thing. You get the ball in Mahomes' hands, and magic's going to happen, which I hate to say because I'm not a Chiefs fan, but man, oh man, it is pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
You said era, you said AFC Championship game. It's exactly where I'm going as well. After that game, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, they embrace on the field. Okay, there's a kiss on the field. There's something whispered back and forth. We don't know what it was, but luckily there was a hot mic on the field.
Oh boy.
This is true, actually. Taylor Swift said, "I've never been more proud of anyone in my life." And he responded with, "I love you." Okay. Listen.
What?
Now we're seeing a lot of celebrities come out now saying, oh, I don't know what's up with all this hate. You guys get over it. Come on. Okay. Listen, look, Fletch is one of them. Fletch is one of them.
A little lowbrow.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm kind of here for the love story at this point. All right. I want to see how this thing ends. I've invested so much time in this thing. If it doesn't end on a happy note, I'm going to be pissed off. I'm just letting you know. This thing has to end with some sort of proposal, some sort of jet set, some sort of massive I love you moment to pay off. I've put a lot of time into this relationship and I need to see a payout. Okay.
I love love, and I love everything that you're saying, TD. I 100% agree. I want the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl only so we can see an engagement
Thank you.
at midfield.
Thank you.
Confetti falling, right?
Right.
There's a podium being set up to do, the MVP and talk to the champions. But Travis Kelce, he can't be bothered because he wants to take who will be his future wife,
Right.
Taylor Swift,
Right.
at midfield.
Yeah.
And baby, just say yes.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right.
Let's just seat it up.
By the way, that would set up a very nice reality show, Love Wins.
Oh my
Right?
gosh.
I
Oh
mean,
my gosh.
That's what I'm saying.
Can you imagine next season, the 2025 NFL season, alongside the Chiefs' rise to their next AFC West title? It's just Travis and Taylor at home in their mansion in Kansas City.
Right.
And he's just like, no, I don't want to take out the trash.
TD's halftime is like my favorite part of the show, and we're really ruining
Okay,
it.
sorry.
Right now.
No, it's not. Oh, come on. Well, speaking of the Chiefs, Coach Andy Reid, he's bragging that he met Taylor Swift before Travis Kelce. He was on Tom Brady's Let's Go podcast, and he said that's the last thing Trav wanted to hear, which what the hell is he inferring happened when he met Taylor Swift?
They made out.
I guess it was while he
love
was in
Andy Reid.
Philadelphia. Yeah, I don't know. College hoops, Aztecs out in Fort Collins, Colorado State today, 6 p.m. tip-off. Pregame is at 5:30, and I'll just head over to these NBA scores right now.
Thank you.
The Mavs mic'd the Magic, 131-120.
Magic Mike.
The Nuggets Showalter the Bucks, 113-107.
Buck Showalter.
The Rockets mortgaged the Lakers, 135-119.
Rocket Mortgage.
That was Ricky Fowler.
The Kings charled the Grizzlies, 103-94.
Gosh, long live the king.
The Timberwolves botanied Oklahoma.
That's a plant joke.
You can't get enough plant jokes,
Yeah.
really. I mean, we're being
Travis
honest.
is an industry
Yeah.
plant.
The 76ers gassed the Trailblazers, 130-104. 76. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we get it. Yeah.
The Knicks slightly cut or notched the Hornets, 113.
Is that Webster's approved?
Yes.
It's a verb.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Wheel of football. Spin that wheel, TD. Here we go.
All
Yeah,
right.
so for those who are unfamiliar, we play wheel football. We put 5 categories up on the wheel, and wherever it lands, we go to. And first up, it is, are the Chiefs a dynasty? Okay, do you consider what the Chiefs has done to this point with Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, a dynasty?
What's weird is I don't yet. And I understand it has been 6 seasons. However, if I look back at the Buffalo Bills run where they went to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row, I don't look at the Buffalo Bills as having a dynasty team. So the problem is the Chiefs need to start stringing together a few more of these Super Bowl wins. Now, this could be number 3 for Patrick Mahomes. Look, I know he's been there 4 times. It's hard to say it's not a dynasty. It's hard to say that because I feel like I'm weird for saying it. However, my gut does not say dynasty right now.
If this isn't a dynasty, I don't know what is. We are living in the Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid era. That is a dynasty. And this is a dynasty. Even if they lose this one, even if they get blown out by the 49ers, the difference between this team and that Buffalo Bills team is the Chiefs won 2 of these things.
Yeah.
And by the way, they were doing it while Tom Brady was still winning Super Bowls. So it's
100% agree. I spin that wheel. 100% agree. It is one of those teams that, I mean, they until proven otherwise, until somebody knocks them off,
49ers.
and it could be, but until somebody beats them, and consistently beats them. They are a dynasty. All right, it landed on this one, TD. Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. Will it work?
Yeah, I mean, I think it will. I don't see why it wouldn't work. But once again, season after season, I'm looking at the Chargers roster going, okay, this should be a winning team, and it doesn't work. However, this is the first time since Schottenheimer that I felt like, oh, they got somebody in the driver's seat.
They got
right
a
now.
shot.
Yeah, they got some. That's right. That's right.
Yep.
They got a shot. I was trying to figure out how to work in Oppenheimer.
By the way, a shot and a Heimer, it sounds like something you would do like at a party and people like, dude, he did the Schottenheimer. I can't believe he pulled it off.
So what's the definition of work on this wheel of football? Is work winning a Super Bowl?
Okay. Yeah, actually, I guess be a consistent playoff team, have a chance at a Super Bowl during his run. That's what I would qualify as this working out.
It should work. They should have a shot at a Super Bowl. Do I ever believe they will win one with Jim Harbaugh? No.
All right. So in the criteria I just laid out to you, like playoffs consistently and have a chance of winning a championship, I'm going to say yes. And the reason is because Jim Harbaugh has worked everywhere he's been. University of San Diego here in our, corner of the country, up with the Stanford Cardinal, then with the 49ers. It took a little bit longer at Michigan, but it did work after 7 years. He finally turned that program around and got them into the playoffs and doing special things like we saw this past season. So, yeah, I think it'll work. All right, let's spin that wheel. That wheel of football. It goes round and round. We never know where it's going to stop, guys. It's really fun. And
this is actually a juicy one.
Here it is.
So this is the Mike Tomlin one. Is Mike Tomlin on the hot seat to start next season?
I think so. I think he has to be. The problem with being over 500 every year, yeah, it's a really cool stat, and it's something that Mike Tomlin has been able to eat free lunch around Pittsburgh for a while on. But everybody's getting tired of that same old story. It's like, hey, gang, we did it again. Big pat on our back, big round of applause. We're going to sneak into the playoffs and get just dominated by the Bengals or the Bills. We're going to get beat up by like the Browns maybe or the Texans now.
Still in the same division or the same conference as the Chiefs.
Yeah, you got the Chiefs staring you down. Yeah, so Mike Tomlin, I think he probably has one more year and they'll give him the full season unless something absolutely insane happens. But if they're not in the postseason or if they're an early bounce, I think Mike Tomlin could lose his job in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I agree entirely. So 2 seasons ago, there was worry that Mike Tomlin wouldn't have a winning season. He pulls it out. I mean, there was talk then of, is this the coach that we keep moving forward with? This past season, there was discussion of, who is this Steelers team? Is Mike Tomlin on the hot seat? Or is he making wrong decisions? What's going to happen? They ended up making the playoffs, which I think saved his job this season, getting into the playoffs. So without a doubt in my mind, he is on the hot seat for next season.
So what's crazy about Mike Tomlin is when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers since 1969, they've had 3 head coaches.
Yeah.
It went from Chuck Noll to Bill Cowher to Mike Tomlin. The Steelers don't make a habit of firing coaches, but it's been a long time, since 2007, that Mike Tomlin has been there. It might be time for a change.
And here it goes. The wheel of football goes round and round. 3 topics down, 2 remaining. And it's amazing how it always seems to land on the next.
Right.
Perfect.
Like we've never actually hit the same topic twice. And here we are. A brand new thing to speak about.
Wow. Will Bill Belichick coach next season?
Okay. Here's the deal. I think no. I think this is like when, a high school student graduates and does like a year of community college and gets pretty decent grade, but just not quite ready to go to undergrad somewhere. Just wants a backpack around Europe. I feel like Belichick is that angsty teenager turned young adult that's just like, God, I got to spread my wings and get out there, see the world, do special things.
Right.
Maybe we'll catch him on his boat, the 7 Rings in Australia, fishing. Maybe we'll catch him, I don't know, topless, leaving some old lady's house after knocking boots.
I like that.
Like he did. That video, that ring camera video that was released, there could be a lot of fun to be had. All I'm saying is I think he's probably not going to get hired this cycle, but I'm sure he will next year.
I was trying to do this yesterday. I was listening to a podcast where they said to like close your eyes and do the eyeball test with Bill Belichick. Can you picture him in a Washington Commanders get up? And I can, but it sounds like the Washington Commanders are going with Ben Johnson. And then close your eyes, do the same thing with the Seattle Seahawks. I cannot. I can't picture Bill Belichick as the head coach of the Seattle
Mm.
Seahawks. I don't know why. It just doesn't fit for me. So, yes, it's a year off coming, and then whatever the best job next year that he finds suitable will be him.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he coaches next year. However, I don't think it's his decision. I think maybe he tried and it just didn't work out. So as much as Rich, you think that he's going to take the year off and go backpacking around Europe, I see this thing as he's at home. He's overweight. He's sad. He's in his underwear. He hasn't taken a shower in 3 days. He's
Wearing a wife beater, eating chocolate ice cream straight out of the tub.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. Actually, I think Vegas has the odds now at minus 1,600 that he does not coach next season, which I think is around a 4% chance that he would. 96% chance he doesn't.
It's like
coach next season.
the end of the movie Dodgeball with White Goodman.
Yes.
Effing Dan Campbell.
That's 1,000,000% it. Yeah.
All right, final one. Richie, we will start with you.
That's what it says.
Early Super Bowl look ahead.
What it
Who do you
says.
like in the big game?
Okay, all right. Very early. It is Tuesday. We've got a long way from Providence, boys. But if I'm going to say 12 days out, who I think wins the Super Bowl, here's the deal. I picked them in the preseason. We just talked about the dynasty. Chiefs until proven otherwise. I have that kind of belief in that system, in that coach, in that quarterback especially. And they've got a very special tight end who wants to ask his wife's hand in marriage after the game.
Yeah.
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
Everything you just said, flip it to the 49ers, and that's who I'm saying.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
until the marriage part, because George Kittle's already married. But that's the deal.
That's
like
right.
the 49ers have everything
Nailing
you
it.
just said in my eyes, except Brock Purdy's maybe like a step down on the ladder from Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I was looking at the AFC Championship game, and I thought, man, if either of these teams go against the Niners, I would be worried if I were a Niner fan, and especially the Chiefs. I think they don't match up well. I think the Niners will have a shot at this. I mean, like you said, Rich, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, come on. I don't know how you bet against them at this
Ball
point.
bounces in weird ways.
It
Right,
does.
right.
It does.
But speaking of special tight ends,
Whew. Well, thank you. I mean, you stop it, you.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're heading. Hey, by the way, but before we get to that, the biggest story of the season has been staring us in the face all along. We'll get to that, but yeah, he's talking about my tight end.
Real
He
tight.
was talking about your butt.
Huge thanks to sdfatloss.com. I mean, I'll tell you what, every once in a while I catch myself in the mirror. I'm like, who is that handsome devil? Oh my goodness, it's a dark room. Oh, that's me? Oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed.
I can't keep my hands off him.
Look at you, you sexy devil. Yeah. Well, listen, if you're like,
if you want that same feeling,
yeah, if you're like me and you want to wake up in the middle of the night and not be startled by your reflection and think like, oh my gosh, that looks like an overstuffed Twinkie, and start thinking to yourself like, I might want to split a Twinkie with that gentleman. That's what SD Fat Loss can do for you. SDFatLoss.com. Wayne and Chloe, the weight loss team over there. I don't even know where I am right now. What planet I'm on.
I mean, you could do it without
free consultation.
exercise.
Yeah, free consultation.
Proprietary Whole Foods.
You don't have to do any of the gimmick stuff, right? You're not buying meals. You're not buying like expensive shakes or protein bars or whatever else. I mean, and also you're not taking prescription medicines. That's become so popular.
Yeah.
People going to their doctors and being like, "Hey, load me up, doc. I want to take a medicine that is going to kill my appetite. I'm going to lose a whole bunch of weight, and then I'm going to gain it all back." It's dumb. That stuff doesn't work. What does work is Wayne and Chloe's plan. They're going to sign you up on an app, or they're going to give you the paperwork if you'd rather do it that way. They're also going to be available to answer all of your questions. They were tremendous for us. Again, free consultations. We all went in for our free consultation, and we're like, "Hey, so we're a little chubby." They're like, No. You are just a skinny person waiting to be unfurled from that disgusting wrapper you've created around yourself. And we said, really? And they said, yeah, we believe in you. And that's exactly what happened.
That's right. It was exactly like that. Verbatim.
Actually, they said none of those things. But SDFatLoss.com. Start your journey today. SDFatLoss.com.
It's been staring at us all year long. How do we not realize it till just now? Coming up next. This update presented by Jackson Hewitt. It matters who does your taxes. We'll begin with college hoops. San Diego State hits the road tonight. They're headed to Moby Arena in Fort Collins, a matchup with the Rams of Colorado State. It's a big one for the Aztecs, who are coming off their bye weekend. Listen tonight, starting with pregame at 5:30. Tip-off with Ted Leitner at 6. NBA last night, Lakers lost to the Rockets 135-119. Clips fall to the Cavs 118-108. And the Suns beat the Heat 118-105. Over in the NFL, Chargers, after hiring Jim Harbaugh to be their next head coach, have now hired Joe Ortiz to be their next general manager. He was the director of player personnel in Baltimore previously. When you get your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt, prepare to shout Jackson Hewitt from the rooftops. In the event you don't get your biggest refund, you will get your money back plus $100.
Woo! Doobie Brothers right there. Yeah, San Diego Sports 760. Big Rashidi and Fletch with you on a Tuesday. And we do have Doobie Brother tickets we are going to be giving away here. They are going to be at, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, June 25th. Tickets and info, go to livenation.com or just keep listening for your shot to win. You know what, guys? I think we should do it before the end of the show today.
Dude, 100%.
So, it could happen anytime.
Actually, yeah, keep listening. Hey, by the way, quick programming update. Just got in touch with our good friend, TJ Hushmanzada.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Analyst, FS1. You hear him on Fox Sports Radio. Who's going to be joining us at 8:10 coming up on this show. Also, Daniel Popper, 8:30, Chargers beat reporter with The Athletic. He's going to join us to give us the ultra-focused view on exactly what's happening with Jim Harbaugh as he has his first days as a Chargers head guy going on in L.A.
Fun game.
He does
TD.
not want to give us the runaround.
Spell Hushmanzada.
Hushmanzada. HUSHMANZANY.
Why are you asking such hard questions? So the story that has been staring us dead in the eyes the entire NFL season has been obviously Taylor Swift. But it's not just about Taylor Swift. It's also about her financial impact on the league. Now, obviously, we're talking about estimates here. We're not talking about anything other than just sort of fictional valuations that people who are smarter than us are putting on things. But well, yeah, maybe they're not smarter than us. Maybe we are. No, they're probably smarter than us.
Smart.
Taylor Swift has generated the equivalent brand value, this from Front Office Sports, of $331.5 million for the Chiefs and the NFL. This is according to Apex Marketing Group. So the figure includes print, digital, radio, TV, highlights, social media, going back to Swift's first game in September when it was rumored that she'd be showing up for her boyfriend, love interest, guy that she knows, Travis Kelce. And it has blossomed into this almost like conglomeration of two mega giant corporations, Taylor Swift Inc. and the NFL. And it has netted what would be considered a third of $1 billion for the Chiefs and the league.
Is it crazy that my reaction when I saw that number was that's probably a little low?
No, it's my exact same reaction.
Yeah.
I bet you it's closer to $500 million. I bet you it's closer to $500 million.
Just think about how many more people are watching now because of Taylor Swift than didn't watch before, and how many more people are buying the stupid jerseys of not just Travis Kelce, but also Jason Kelce, whose popularity skyrocketed with the rise of their podcast and the Taylor Swift drama that really kicked that thing off.
Which, by the way, so when the NFL is putting together their advertising deals for the season, they were set up before the season started, before the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce love story. So guess what? With these new numbers of how many more people are watching the NFL next season, those ad dollars just go way up. So that 331 million is maybe where it's at now, but that will still reverberate through the following seasons here as time moves on.
And to Fletch's point, like how many families out there brought home Travis Kelce or 87 Chiefs Swift jerseys as part of their Christmas presents? Or how many times did a kid under the tree open up an NFL jersey because Santa came and dropped off Kelce jerseys? But then on top of it, if you've got two kids, not just one, and one of them's a daughter who wants a Swift jersey, and then you're like, well, we can't just give her an NFL jersey and I give him his favorite player, Joe Burrow,
Brock Purdy,
right? Or Jordan Love, depending on where they live around the country. But yeah, depending on where they're from, right? You know that's happening too, and that's not being tabulated in this equation.
Well, you know what else isn't being tabulated in this equation is non-licensed material.
Right.
So, I mean, look at how many people on Etsy are, what time's the Taylor Swift game? These shirts that were made by the tens or hundreds of thousands. I mean, there are so many Taylor Swift Chiefs references out there that I don't even know if you can wrap your head around how many dollars are being spent on this.
300 feels low.
Yeah. 300 feels low. Also, think about they get mentions on SNL.
Yeah.
They get mentions
on they have skits.
They get mentions and jokes and on all the late night shows.
Every radio show, not just sports, is talking about this all year long.
If the NFL tried to spend the kind of money it would take to market their league this effectively, and not just on sports stations. The reason why I'm pointing to late night and SNL, it's gone mainstream. It's on every FM station. If I walk into, as a sports talk radio show host and a former NFL player, into any FM station, the first thing any of those jocks are talking to me about is Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Yeah, what about earlier? Gina the Latina, one of the biggest personalities in San Diego, had the three of us on to talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Right. When this season's done, even if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, it will be remembered as the Taylor Swift season.
No question.
No question.
That's it.
It's the Taylor Swift season.
I put out that tweet yesterday. I was like, I know it's been cute. It's been fun. At times it's been adorable. Are we really ready for this Super Bowl 58 to go down in history as the Taylor Swift Super Bowl?
You're damn right.
I'm in. I mean, I am all in. I'm
all
in.
If everyone's okay with that, so am I. I'm not going to be the stick in the mud, even though I definitely am.
Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift was also the #1 Halloween costume.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I mean, Travis Dale spent $80 this year on a Travis Kelce jersey.
Yes.
Might have been more than 80.
Yes.
It was. I remember him showing me the receipts.
I have football pants now.
If you think you're burned out on the Taylor Swift story, wait till you hear this next one. because this is one that's really grinding a lot of people's gears, and it's been happening all year long. We'll get to that, but first, Fletch,
it's time to get in the lab, and I want you to cook something up here. All of you, everyone listening right now, get on over to prizepicks.com/Fletch. Use it to get a $100 first deposit match. But I want you to get in the lab because the big game is coming up. It is right around the corner. And not only get in the lab for the big game, but also basketball season's in full swing. There is money to be made out there, people. Basketball and football, their seasons are coming together right now, and you can go in with the combo projection across football and basketball from the Specials League. That would mean you would have something like Steph Curry and Patrick Mahomes on the same entry on the same little line. And you can do that right now with Prize Picks. The combo projections are out of this world fun to play with. Prize Picks even offering that reboot policy so that your entries will stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. They're the only ones that do that. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half, doesn't return in the second, that player will be rebooted for you. Prize Picks, the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. Prize Picks, super simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. If you want to jump on the bandwagon, if you want to get on the train with me, prizepicks.com/Fletch. That'll get you a first deposit match up to $100. It works on the app too. So just download the Prize Picks app. Use promo code Fletch when you sign up, and you're going to get a $100 first deposit match. I talk about all this and not give you any results. That's not how I do things. I have made $862 with Prize Picks since I first signed up when I started telling you all about Prize Picks. The thing is awesome. Download it today. And remember, today is Tuesday, meaning Taco Tuesday. You got some discount on select player projections up to 25% today and today only. It's Taco Tuesday. Get on over to prizepicks.com/Fletch. Coming up next, the Taylor Swift story is sickening, yes, and it's burned out a little bit. This one, even more so. Keep listening.
The story that you're probably sick of is about to make you a little sicker. Coming up next.
Hey, it's Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Doobie Brothers tickets coming up very shortly, so stick around for those. Also, join us. We're going to be at KMB Bistro live on the Friday before the big game for Big Rich, TD, and Fletch's big game tailgate party.
I like that.
We're going to have Tony Kanja, the owner-operator of KMB Bistro and Keg and Bottle 10 locations around San Diego. He's going to be there.
Right.
We're going to have Jay Kennedy, our very favorite bartender from KMB Bistro there. We're going to have some old friends from Bar Cart Fridays of the past show up. We're going to have some special guests. We're going to have swag bags to give away to listeners who show up, and we're going to have special prizes, including a 65-inch television to watch the big game on. We will bring it to your house post-show.
That's right. That's right.
And we can't wait.
Among other prizes we'll be giving away. It's going to be a ton of fun. We'd love to see you down there. We'd love to shake your hand. We'd love to take some pictures with you and hang out, have a good time. Also at Keg and Bottle, Tony's going to have some of the past offerings for sale there that you can stop by and see what we were sipping on and taste them as well and take them home. But also tomorrow, a very, very, very big day, special day, because the residents of San Diego areas were severely impacted from last week's storms. And they could use some basics as they piece together their lives. So tomorrow from 8 to 5, you can drop off donations at the iHeart Studios right here, 9660 Granite Ridge Drive, right off Arrow in the 15. We're collecting new and gently used clothing, toiletries, and more. Again, tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. right here in the parking lot. Also, guys, in 2020, there was a pandemic. Some say in the Great Reset, right? It was Trump versus Biden. And it was the Niners and the Chiefs.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And 2024.
Oh, here we go again.
Wow.
Things went so well the first time.
Right.
We
should try it again.
Can we do COVID all over again?
No, don't even put that out there, dude.
Dude, I was totally joking. I've hated it. Absolutely. Do you know that? I've been firm on that stance. I hate COVID. Come on, dude. You know, I hate it. I've always hated viruses. The influenza, never a fan.
Never. No, yeah.
I don't care.
Only virus.
You said that a long time.
Even if it's from Spain or from pigs or birds.
Only virus
no
we
to all
love.
of it.
We love one virus.
What's that?
The best bracket ever.
Yeah, well, that went very viral. That went very
good.
viral.
By the way, have you guys seen the high school chick that looks exactly like Brock Purdy?
No.
I can't remember her name, but she's been going viral like crazy over the last handful of weeks. Every single one of her videos on TikTok has more views than the best bracket ever.
Wow, that's amazing.
And
Okay,
it's because she looks like Brock Purdy.
I need you to get plastic surgery, Fletch.
I guess.
Do it for the show.
Looks like, I guess. She
kind of does
Brock
look
Purdy.
exactly like Brock Purdy.
And a lot of people are doing like videos where they say Brock Purdy in the first half and it's her, and then Brock Purdy in the second half and it's Tom Brady.
No way. All right, so check this out. If you're a little bit tired of the Taylor Swift story, where are you at? Where's your give a damn meter on Deion Sanders and the antics he's been pulling in Colorado?
Okay, so the nice thing about that story, they started losing, so that story kind of went away. But do you remember, they opened up? Was it against TCU?
Yeah,
they beat TCU in their first game
on the road,
and then it was you couldn't blink without seeing Deion Sanders' face imprinted on the inside of your eyeballs. Then they started sucking and sucking hard.
Well, once they got into the Pac-12 conference play. Final season of the Pac-12 even really being in existence.
Then the biggest story was, all their stuff got jacked from the UCLA locker room.
Well, and then, it just continued. It was just time after
high school.
Yeah, your high school.
Yeah.
Proud alum.
If I could remember the alma mater, I'd sing it. Yeah.
The sons of Deion Sanders, I think it was Shiloh and Sanders Jr., but I'm not sure, apparently purchased a eye-popping mansion in Colorado. It's set on 33 acres. It backs up to 20,000 acres of Jefferson County open space. So they have land for miles and miles and miles.
Beautiful.
It is stunning.
It is a $7.2 million home that has been paid for by college athletes.
Rich, you played in college football way too early.
I certainly did.
Why did your parents not wait to get it on?
That house in California, anywhere in California, is a $30 million home.
It's got what looks like a hotel pool in the backyard. It's got several different seating areas. It has a basketball court or a tennis court. It's just, so look, here's the deal. It's a publicity stunt. I know they love their dad, and I know that they absolutely wanted to do this for somebody who raised them.
This is a flex.
This is a flex. This is a publicity stunt. This is what Deion Sanders, think about his life. He's been famous since he's 16 years old. Like, and I remember going through this in a much, trust me, not even close to the level of fame that he's experienced in his life. But when you start getting good at college or high school football, all of a sudden, like, you become like the biggest fish in your little pond.
Like, good enough to start catching the eyes of big college football teams.
And then from there, it only ramps up. And then the better you are, like a Deion Sanders, for example, at Florida State, and then what he did in the league with the Falcons, and then what he did in the league with the Dallas Cowboys, and then what he continued to do post-career as a media profile, and then as a coach at Jackson State, and now at Colorado. He's been famous since he's a teenager, since he's 16 years old. It's the only life he's known.
Can't help but notice you left out a team when talking about Deion Sanders' pro career.
San Francisco 49ers.
He was pretty good with us, too.
He was pretty good with the Niners. Look, the point I'm trying to make is Deion Sanders has been famous since he's a kid. It's the life he knows. He's doing the same exact thing for his kids. He understands that life.
This is a Deion move.
Well, yeah, this is also Deion Sanders knows how to work the media machine.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, when you haven't talked about Deion Sanders in a little bit, and we need to get some eyeballs back on Colorado State and Deion Sanders and what's going on, what's happening, you throw something out to the media.
Guys, we just need to buy a $7.2 million house.
That's it.
That's it.
And create a studio in there.
Two things.
Can we do a GoFundMe for that?
One, he coaches at Colorado, not Colorado State.
God, did I say Colorado State again?
You know the texters are going to light you up for it.
It's fine.
It's like,
Yes.
But
I understand. Yes.
But second of all, the point you just made about his media savvy and his understanding of how all this works, it is going to be what makes Colorado potentially, as they enter the Big 12 now and they secede from the Pac-12 or what was left of it, like they are going to be one of those teams that, like it or not, they're not going anywhere. They're going to be a big dog as long as he's there, because what this does is it gets eyeballs. It gets people interested in the program.
Yeah.
It gets recruits, and that is the name of the game these days.
That's the number one thing to me. It's recruits are looking, I can afford a $7.2 million house if I go to Colorado and play under Deion Sanders.
But also, to my point, though, I mean, if people do look towards Colorado and they think they want to play for Colorado State, I guess it would still help.
Colorado.
No, I'm saying also. Yeah, they're like, I want to be a Ram.
Speaking of Colorado State, Aztecs taking on Colorado State tonight. Big game for San Diego State, who need this win. They need to get that signature road win in the Mountain West Conference. This would be one of them. Colorado State, a very good basketball team so far this year.
Yep. It was cool to watch the Aztecs get a bye, right? Get off their feet a little bit, and then get back out there on the court on the road
Big
in
game.
Fort Collins. Speaking of feet, want to talk to you about my feet and my arch supports from the Good Feet store. Really, really awesome place to go to if you're struggling with any lower body joint pain. If you got pain in your feet, in your ankles, your knees, your hips, your back, and you've been struggling with this for a while, get to the Good Feet store. They're FSA, HSA approved. You can go in there. They'll work with you. It's a free fitting and test walk. We all experienced it. It was really good for me because I walked away from the NFL with a lot of back pain, a lot of knee pain, and I actually started getting some late onset like hip pain that wasn't going away, and I was considering getting an MRI. I canceled it. I didn't want to go in for the imaging because the pain went away. That was my chief concern about all of it, and it went away. So with the Good Feet store, if you're struggling with pain as you walk around in your life or professionally, whatever you do, if you work on your feet all day long, the Good Feet store is for you. Goodfeet.com. They got 200 plus locations around the U.S. and overseas. Again, that's goodfeet.com. Coming up next, we'll get into the Super Bowl matchup and what we saw in Championship Weekend with FS1 analyst TJ Hushmanzada. Also, we'll get an update on what the Chargers are doing. Early days with Jim Harbaugh from Daniel Popper, the Athletic beat writer that covers the Chargers. All that coming up next.
It's hour 3 on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This update presented by Lowe's. We are going to start off this morning with college hoops. San Diego State hits the road tonight. They're going to Moby Arena in Fort Collins. It's a matchup with Colorado State, TD, Colorado State, the Rams. And it's a big one for the Aztecs coming off a bye weekend. Listen tonight, starting at 5:30, tip-off with headliner at 6. I was making sure you knew it's Colorado State.
Yeah, with Dion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
NBA last night, Lakers lost to the Rockets 135-119. Clippers fall to the Cavs 118-108. Suns beat the Heat 118-105. Over in the NFL, Chargers have hired their GM. His name is Joe Ortiz. He is previously the director of player personnel in Baltimore, jumping from Harbaugh to Harbaugh. Get the appliances you need right away at Lowe's. Explore the largest assortment of brands you trust in-store or online at the best values. Plus, take advantage of their everyday financing offers. Lowe's knows home improvement, subject to credit approval.
Woo! Happy Tuesday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you on this fine Tuesday morning. Couple of programming updates. We're giving away Doobie Brothers tickets, and it's happening within the next 7 minutes. So if you just keep listening, you're going to have an opportunity to find out when to call. And then when you call, you're going to win those tickets. So hang tight if you want to go see the Doobie Brothers June 25th, Cal Coast Credit Union Amphitheater. Information and ticket sales at livenation.com. Also, we're going to be out, not this Friday, but next Friday at K&B Bistro. It's in Del Cerro. If you've never been, you got to go anyways. So you may as well show up between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. for our show, our first live show out and amongst the people. We are pumped. We're giving away a 65-inch television. We're giving away a gift certificate to the Man Zone, where Dr. Roy David is the medical director. That's where I'm getting my testosterone treatments. You can go in with that gift certificate, get tested to see if you're a candidate. And if you are, your first testosterone treatment will be on the house at the Man Zone. There's going to be swag bags and other giveaways. You'll get to meet us, take pictures with Buck Norris. It's going to be an awesome Big Rich, TD, and Fletch tailgate big game party.
Can't wait. And food from Sombreros, Mexican food.
Dude, yeah, I completely forgot. Sombreros.
Oh, my God. Stop by and get
Breakfast burritos?
a breakfast
Come on
burrito? Man, oh, man.
Golly,
Remember they have the
that's how we
salsa,
tailgate.
or they have the hot sauce now in those cool packets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, is that-
Yeah, I did forget about that. I was like, they're
I
geniuses
didn't
over
because
there.
I took some home.
They were just here like a week ago.
I know.
Right.
I'm like a goldfish.
They
One time
cater,
around
too.
the bowl. They do cater too.
Yeah.
Where have I heard that?
In
Anyways,
your update, Fletch, you said that the Suns beat the Heat, and I feel like that's scientifically impossible.
yeah,
Yeah.
because the sun is the hottest thing in our
Yeah.
solar system.
What did you say when you had that one this morning?
I didn't put one for the Suns and the Heat. I don't know.
What would it have been?
I don't know. They dayed the Heat.
Jesus Christ.
Sun dayed.
They tanned. Sun's tan. Actually, that's probably not good. Look, the point is, guys, we're gonna be out amongst our listeners, the hangers, the bangers, the roadies, the dogs.
Cannot wait. I cannot wait for
Me
this.
neither. Me neither. We are, legitimately frothing at the mouth. Ben, we're getting him treated for rabies later. He needs a several series of injections.
Oh,
Right.
shoot. Do I need to go to the
Mhm.
doctor and check on
He
that?
was bit by a Rottweiler.
Oh, that's right.
He
That's
didn't
right.
really break skin.
Yeah, but he was a mad
Mm.
dog.
I'm probably fine. I'm just going to go with that.
For your opportunity to win the Doobie Brothers tickets, this is what I'm going to do. Just keep listening for 2 more minutes here because we're going to give you the time to call. Okay.
Right.
We're going to be joined by TJ Hushmanzada also coming up in just a few minutes, former NFL pro and a really great wide receiver. Interested to hear his thoughts on this Super Bowl matchup and what we saw over Championship Weekend, FS1 analyst. And then Daniel Popper later this hour is going to pop on with us. We're going to talk about the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh is the new head coach there.
Oh, Justin Herbert.
My goodness. When I met him, I have to admit, I was a little starstruck.
Are you a 15-year-old girl there, Jim?
All right. Look, here's the deal with Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is a quirky guy. Jim Harbaugh is going to be a difference maker immediately from this standpoint. When you go from a Brandon Staley, who day one on the job was literally day one on the job for him, it's going to be very different than when Jim Harbaugh gets control of this thing. And I remember that feeling with veteran head coaches, like going into a Penn State with a Joe Paterno or going into a situation in New England with a Bill Belichick. Like everybody knows where they're supposed to be. Everything is organized. Everything feels right. Even Ken Whisenhunt with Arizona Cardinals, like getting to training camp with them. He had been there for a long, long time. Like it's just things are sorted out with veteran head coaches. Then with Mike McCoy as the first time head coach with the Chargers when I signed in 2013 in San Diego, I remember feeling like, oh, this is different. Like the way he talks about football, the way he's talking about certain players, like he's doing things vastly differently than the veteran coaches that I've played for in my entire career, stemming all the way back to high school with Vincent Massia.
Well, it does feel like Jim Harbaugh is going to come in and say, okay, we're not screwing around anymore. I mean, that's just the feeling I get from him that he gives off, that Brandon Staley probably wasn't the most respected in the locker room, and Jim Harbaugh is going to command respect.
Yeah. Oh, he will. Yeah. He will, because he's got past playing or coaching experience in the NFL that worked.
Yeah.
If you look at his record, I believe he replaced Thomas Sula, if I'm remembering correctly, right, Fletch?
I believe so.
Dark years. Or was was it Singletary? It was one of the two.
No, there was
a
gap. No, maybe Chip Kelly.
No, it wasn't Chip. It wasn't Chip. Chip came after Harbaugh.
Yeah, you're right.
Because he was in Philly, I think, at the end of the Harbaugh time. But anyways, he either replaced Singletary or Thomas Sula, and it was a mess. It was an absolute disaster. And when he came in, he kind of immediately righted the ship. And then you remember what he did with the offense and Colin Kaepernick.
It was Mike Singletary, then Harbaugh, then Tom Sula, then Chip Kelly.
There you go. It was a disaster, and he was able to revive it immediately. The Chargers are coming off of a 5-win season. You could make the argument that this is a disaster, and I don't think you would be far from the truth. So very interested to see what happens.
8-11.
Perfect.
8-11. That's the time you need to call in. So here's the number: 877-767-4760. 877 SORG 760 is the number you need, and you got to be calling number 5 at 811 if you want to win those Doobie Brother tickets.
So TJ Hushmanzada in just a few minutes. But yeah, the rest of the AFC West is where we started the show off, because again, we're going to have another one of those years where on paper you look around and it's the craziest, it's the Wild West, the AFC West. You know, you have Antonio Pierce, where the players threatened a mutiny if they didn't rehire their interim head coach they fell in love with. Then the Chargers fire their general manager. Tom Telesco becomes the GM in Las Vegas. And then the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl again. And then the Denver Broncos have Sean Payton, and he's making changes on the staff. And Russell Wilson isn't going to be the quarterback. Like, there are storylines flying around everywhere you look. It's not just in LA. It's all across this division. And on paper, because of what the Chiefs have done, and now honestly what the Chargers and the Raiders have done this offseason, and what the Denver Broncos did last offseason getting Sean Payton, it feels like, again, one of the strongest divisions in football on paper, but who knows?
Right, because that has not panned out. That has not played out well yet.
Okay, we welcome in TJ Hushmanzada, great wide receiver during his long career in the NFL. Now an incredible broadcaster. You hear him on Fox Sports Radio, FS1 analyst. TJ, how you doing this morning?
Man, I'm doing well. How are y'all doing?
We're really good. We're fired up, man. We were talking about this AFC West, how on paper last offseason, it absolutely felt like it would be a top division in the NFL. Obviously did not work out that way. Denver Broncos came out to an, unspecious start. And then you had the Chargers with their problems, firing their head coach midseason. The Raiders, same thing. And then Antonio Pierce takes over. I mean, it feels like, though, heading into the offseason, a sense of stability has resumed. You have Antonio Pierce named the head coach. The players love him. You have Jim Harbaugh come to LA with the Chargers. He has been a winner everywhere he's been. Sean Payton in his second year with the Denver Broncos looking to move on from Russell Wilson. So a little bit of a question mark there. Chiefs are back in the Super Bowl. Is it ridiculous to say that the AFC West on paper heading into 2024 is the strongest division in football?
I would put the AFC North and the AFC West side by side. And I say that because Burrow can come back and stay healthy. If Deshaun Watson can come back and stay healthy. The Ravens were just in the AFC Championship game. The Steelers are always a tough out for anybody. Get them a quarterback, it's going to be even harder. And so when you look at the AFC West, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert. We don't know what Sean Payton's going to have at quarterback. We don't know what AP and the Raiders will have at quarterback. But just the coaches in the AFC West make it very, very interesting because Harbaugh comes into the National Football League automatically top 5 coach. He's that good of a coach.
TJ, what about Andy Reid? I mean, if Harbaugh's in the top 5, Andy Reid, is he in the top 5? Is he above Harbaugh?
Oh yeah. So for me, in no order. These are my top coaches in the National Football League. Would be Andy Reid, both Harbaughs, McVay, Shanahan.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's a strong top 5 right there. Mike Tomlin, really quick, TJ. We were talking about this earlier. Art Rooney came out publicly. He was talking about how he's tired of the losing. He kind of turned around and said, like, we need to win. And I think he meant in the postseason. And then he lauded Mike Tomlin for all of his efforts, the fact that he hasn't lost the locker room. But Mike Tomlin, long time, has been regarded one of the top coaches in the league, but recently has not won. You mentioned the AFC North being a strong division. I placed the Steelers in last place in that division on paper right now. What happens to Mike Tomlin if 2024 doesn't go well? Is he on the hot seat?
Rich, this is the thing, man. Mike Tomlin is a defensive coach, and a lot of their resources are on the defensive side of the ball. T.J. Watt, Mika Fitzpatrick, Cam Hayward, Highsmith. You have to score points in the league to win, and they haven't been able to do that. Not on a consistent level. The quarterback play hasn't been what it needs to be. They draft Kenny Pickett in the first round. He does not seem to be the answer. And so the skill players, the Steelers have been drafting outside linebackers and receivers at a very successful rate since I was playing. So for over 25 years, man, the Steelers going to draft outside backers that can rush the quarterback and receivers. If they can figure out the quarterback situation, I don't know who wins that division. It will be that competitive, but they're going to have to shift and stop putting so much money on the defensive side of the ball and transfer some of that to the offensive side of the ball.
TJ, you look at the 2 teams that we have left here coming up in a couple weeks in the big game, and the Chiefs, they took very different paths to get there. The 49ers were dominant in the early part of the regular season. The Chiefs struggled for a long time, especially with wide receivers and dropping. Those problems have seemed to go away. As a former wide receiver yourself, how have the Chiefs turned this around to make it seem so smooth in the postseason?
It's this one guy. He wears number 15, and he's just that good. But I thought my keys to the game were in this AFC Championship game. If I'm the Baltimore Ravens, I cannot let Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice beat me. That's what I thought was the key to the game. I said that Saturday morning on the FS1 show. Do not let those 2 guys beat you. Travis Kelce had 11 targets, 11 catches. Rashee Rice had 9 targets, 8 catches. So between those 2 guys, it was 20 targets, had 19 catches. And you let the 2 guys that I felt couldn't beat you, you let them beat you. And so you got to give the Chiefs, you got to give Mahomes credit. I felt like they got some calls along the way that helped them, but everybody gets calls here and there that may or may not help you. You just got to fight through it.
TJ Houshmandzadeh joining us on the line, longtime NFL great wide receiver, radio show host, Fox Sports Radio, FS1 analyst. I look at what happened during the NFC Championship game, and I think to myself, it's exactly what I thought would happen if it were a close game. You have a veteran coach who at times has crumbled. We've seen that with Kyle Shanahan. But you have a coach who it's his first time in this moment with Dan Campbell on the other sideline. And he made some questionable decisions, and it cost them the game. I don't think I can remove all context when I look at that situation and say, yeah, Dan Campbell's a bad coach because he made a bad decision in what could end up being the biggest moment of his coaching career, because he's gotten them to this point. Are you on that camp, or are you on the camp of former player analysts? And I've heard many of them talk about this, and I respect the opinion, but who find it to be a fireable offense what he did on the field with the 4th down decision-making in the second half.
Man, come on, Rich. Ain't no way I'm firing Dan Campbell. Man, the people that say that, they need to fire themselves from TV if they said it on TV. Just step down. That man does not deserve to be fired at all. He took a Detroit team that was awful. I mean, awful, bottom of the barrel. And they were in an NFC Championship game. He does not need to be fired. Now, did he make some mistakes? Absolutely, he made mistakes. Don't we all? His just so happened to be in front of the entire world. I just felt like San Francisco gets the ball. It's 24-10. You drive in the field goal range. You kick that field goal. It's a 3-possession game. I believe it was at the 6-minute mark of the third quarter. I could be wrong. So that leaves roughly 21 minutes left in the game. The clock is an ally now. If it's a 3-possession game, the Niners are literally going to have to score every time they get the ball and 3 and out you. You get a few first downs, bleed the clock, the game's over. It's a 3-possession game. And so that's what I was thinking. It's a race to the finish line, just kick the field goal. He didn't do it. He will learn from this. But fire him? Come on, man. Absolutely not.
TJ, would you say that decision was reckless, or was it just trying to be aggressive?
It wasn't trying to be aggressive, and it was somewhere in between. Reckless. Dan Campbell wants to take his team to the Super Bowl, so he's not going to make reckless decisions. I just thought it wasn't a very smart decision, and he'll learn from that. Reckless? No, I'm kicking a field. Hey, when I play Madden, I'm kicking a field goal in that situation. 3 possessions, I'm kicking a field goal.
That's what I say. Yeah, the same thing.
And so with opportunity goes to the Super Bowl, I wouldn't call it reckless. He's been aggressive, quote unquote, the entire season. And you feel like coaches would learn from that. I felt like in the Cowboys when they had the penalty, just kick the PAT, Dan, kick the PAT. He still went for him. Like, what is he doing? And so hopefully he'll sit back once he gets over this loss, reflect, and he'll come back a better coach because of it. Because we come back as better players. I expect him to come back as a better coach.
TJ, no one else has asked it, so I guess I'll have to. But Brock Purdy seems to have set the world on fire, splitting the sports media in two, one side defending, one side going after him viciously. As a former wide receiver, is that a quarterback you would want to play with, Brock Purdy?
Absolutely. Like, Rich, I don't understand it. Okay, Rich, what round were you drafted in?
I was drafted in the 4th round.
Okay, so listen to this, Rich. Why is it that everybody that was drafted late, myself included, when you play well, they say you overachieved? Or when you're doing well, it's everybody else? Why can't it be that the guys that were drafted late, you guys just misevaluated them? You guys made a mistake in evaluating my talent. But when the guy that's drafted high doesn't pan out, oh, he underachieved. He wasn't motivated. No, you guys made a mistake. He just wasn't that good to begin with. Brock Purdy was better than everybody thought. And so they always want to put this narrative or that narrative on him. You guys just made a mistake and misevaluated him. Brock Purdy is that dude. Hell yeah, I'd want to play with Brock Purdy.
TJ, that was literally the first thing I said to Bill Belichick when he picked up the phone. He calls me. He goes, Rich, we're going to take you here at this next pick. I'm like, why'd you wait so long? I was like, well, who is your evaluating process? I mean, this is ridiculous. Anyways, TJ, dude, it's great catching up with you. You are simply the best.
TJ, you got an early Super Bowl pick here. I know we're 12 days out, but one team you like better than the other?
Well, I do. And this is a big if because this playoffs, they haven't done a great job, in my opinion. I would roll with the San Francisco 49ers right now. They got to shore up this run defense, man.
They do.
They need to shore this run defense. Like Steve Wilkes, like you can't give them both, man. Stop. Spend this time and shore up this run defense. If Chase Young is not going to hustle, Chase Young got to get his butt on that sideline.
I love it.
You need to shore up this run defense and make sure everybody's going to play 100 miles an hour. If you can't do it, just come out the game. We'll get you in the next snap. Give it your all.
100% accurate, especially seeing what the Chiefs did out the gates against the Baltimore Ravens, which has a good run defense. They established the run, balanced offense, 10-play drive to open the game, 5 runs, 5 passes. They're going to stick it in there. And if they have success, they're going to do it all game long. TJ, awesome stuff, buddy. We'll talk soon.
All right, Rich, take care, bro. Keep up the great work.
Hey, same to you. TJ Hushmanzada, again, awesome wide receiver during his time in the league. Now, one of the best voices in sports. He's all over Fox Sports Radio, FS1 as an analyst. Okay.
Did you hear that, people?
Okay. All right. I
Did
knew
you
it.
hear that?
It just,
I think the stream went down for just a couple minutes. I don't know if anybody knows what you're talking about.
Did you hear that?
okay. Listen, I don't think it's ridiculous to pick the favorites in a game. Like,
no, not that part. The Brock Purdy part.
Oh, the Brock Purdy. Well, yeah, no, this is what this show, I think, well, outside of TD, I don't think TD believes in Brock Purdy at all.
He just likes to stab me.
Well, that's part of it. The other part, I think I honestly think he's a good quarterback. I think he is playing way above his pay grade.
Rich, what did you say when you introduced TJ Hushmanzada? He was a not good, great wide receiver in this league.
Yeah.
What did TJ Hushmanzada just say about Brock Purdy? Hell yeah, I would want to play with him as my quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know who his quarterbacks were. Okay. I don't know. He could have had some terrible quarterbacks.
No, Carson Palmer. I mean, those were good years in Cincinnati. Think about that. TJ, you had Ocho Cinco, Chad Johnson. I mean, those were good teams.
True.
Marvin Lewis, you remember the gang? It was before the Red Rifle took over there. Anyways, look, the point is, two things got accomplished. One, we talked to a former great in the NFL and an awesome broadcaster in TJ Hushmanzada. Two, we gave away those Doobie Brothers tickets. Who won them?
Tyler, first-time winner.
Okay.
Right
New
on.
listener, Tyler. Thank you for being here, brother. We appreciate you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks,
buddy.
Tyler. And come out and see us, man, on the 9th for the big game tailgate out at K&B.
I can't wait to get to that day. It really does feel like we're waiting for Christmas.
It does.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Are you going to drink a full beer out of Buck Norris?
Multiple. I mean, it's going to be a sloppy party. Okay. Coming up next.
Nice way to censor yourself at that point. We are going to get there around 5:30 or so, I would say, to set up because the thing starts at 7. That's all I was going to say.
I don't know if you even noticed it, Rich, but you said something to TJ Hushmanzada that was super sus, and TD and I made immediate eye contact.
Yeah.
We're like,
Yeah.
that's what she said.
Listen, hang on a second. When you're talking about the run game, you do kind of have to stick it
I
up
know,
in there.
I know.
Anyways, look, the point is.
All right, you can also see us in our new skinny bodies
Yeah.
when you come out to KMB Bistro
That's
next
right.
Friday in the morning. If you're tired of the yo-yo dieting, just take one look at us and realize that yo-yo dieting's not the way.
Mm-mm.
The way is sdfatloss.com.
Mm-hmm.
This is the
It
way.
is the way.
I hope that's not trademarked, but sdfatloss.com is an awesome spot to go get a free consultation today to start losing some weight in the new year. My calendar is looking crazy for basically the minute Aztecs basketball is over until Aztecs football begins. It's like my calendar somehow gets more packed when my work schedule becomes a little lighter, but I want to be looking good for all these big events I got coming up. I got some graduations. I got some weddings. If you want to be looking good too, when those events come up in your life, like they undoubtedly will, get on over to sdfatloss.com. You're going to drop a crap load of weight within the first month. That's what happened to the three of us. And if you follow the program, it will happen to you as well.
A crap load between 20 and 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's legitimately 6 weeks that it takes to lose. In my case, 30 pounds. In Fletch's case, 35.
Yeah.
In TD's, I think at the 6 week mark, you were like down 28 pounds.
Yeah, it was pushing 30.
Yeah.
It was pushing 30. It
Needless
was
to-
crazy.
like we were flabbergasted with the results because there wasn't any shots that we had to take. There wasn't any crappy meal plan we had to follow. It was real food that you eat based on what Wade and Chloe tell you to do. And if you follow it to the law, you're going to have tremendous results. And today, you can go get a free consultation with Wayne and Miss Chloe at sdfatloss.com. Nothing to lose but
Those unwanted pounds.
you guys are so good at that.
All right. Daniel Popper joins us next.
The Chargers have been making some big moves here, and they're still making moves. We're going to talk with Daniel Popper from The Athletic. He covers the Chargers next.
This update is presented by Lowe's. We will begin here with college hoops. Aztecs back in action tonight. They got Colorado State at Moby Arena in Fort Collins. It's a big one for the boys. They're coming off that bye weekend. Listen tonight, starting with pregame coverage at 5:30. Tip-off with Ted Leitner is at 6. NBA last night, Lakers lose to the Rockets 135-119. Clippers fall to the Cavs 118-108. And in the NFL, Chargers, after hiring Jim Harbaugh to be their next head coach, have now hired Joe Ortiz to be their general manager. He was the director of player personnel in Baltimore previously. Get the appliances you need right away at Lowe's, the largest assortment of brands you trust in-store, online at the best values. Plus, take advantage of their everyday financing offers. Lowe's knows home improvement, subject to credit approval.
Barreling through a Tuesday here. Bigger Seating Flex, San Diego Sports 760. We will have another pair of Doobie Brother tickets tomorrow, so you want to keep it locked in here. Also tomorrow, the residents of San Diego areas have been severely impacted from last week's storms. They could use some basics to piece together their lives. So tomorrow from 8 to 5, right here in the iHeart San Diego parking lot, we are holding a drive where you can drop off donations. We need gently used clothing, new clothing, toiletries, a whole lot more tomorrow, 8 to 5, 9660 Granite Ridge Drive, right off the 15 and Arrow. Let's help some people out.
I love it. I really do. Really awesome fundraising effort, or I should say goods collecting effort here at iHeart San Diego. So if you're looking to do a little early spring cleaning, maybe it's on the resolutions list to start 2024, go ahead and bring whatever you can out to the parking lot. There are folks around San Diego who sure would appreciate it. Okay. Daniel Popper covers the Chargers for The Athletic, one of the best voices on this team. Busy couple of days for Daniel Popper as Jim Harbaugh was named the next Chargers head coach. Daniel, how you doing this morning?
Doing great, Rich. Thanks for having me on.
Buddy, it's perfect timing because as we kind of settle into the 2-week reprieve before Super Bowl 58, and it's way too early to start casting our judgments on who we think is going to win that game. The Chargers are hard at work reshaping what has been a tumultuous past 365 days, I'd argue. There were so many expectations and many of them unmet this past year. Midseason firing followed by hiring and inarguably the biggest name off the coaching carousel. We'll start there. How surprised were you that the Chargers hired Jim Harbaugh?
Well, when it went down, I wasn't surprised because this had been in the works for weeks at that point, and everyone that you talked to around the team, outside of the team, in league circles, all believed that this was going to get done. They had targeted Jim Harbaugh very early in the process as somebody they were interested in and one of their top candidates, obviously having played for the team in 1999, 2000, but more importantly, a successful coach at all levels, a winner, a proven winner, and that's really what they were looking for. I guess in a sense, as the process developed, I was surprised that they were actually big fish hunting in this way, because they can go out and say that this is what they're going to do. But so many times in the past, they've had opportunities to take a big swing like this, and they end up going for an up and coming coordinator, for various reasons. And so when it did actually happen, there was a bit of a pinch me moment, like, oh my God, they actually did it. And because of that, it really felt like, a reimagining of how they're approaching this whole thing. And to me, it felt like really a shift in how committed the Spanos family is to winning. And that is a big moment for the franchise, getting a coach like this, as you said, the top coach on the market and one of the best coaching candidate markets that I think we've ever seen, honestly.
Daniel, besides the surprise factor, what does it do for your confidence level looking at this Charger team? Do you think all of a sudden they're a player? Does it fix them?
You're talking about for next season specifically?
Yeah.
That's tough. It really depends on how they approach, the roster, right? Like they have a lot of pricey veterans, from Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa to Mike Williams to Keenan Allen. All those guys combined are accounting for like 58% of the salary cap next season. So if Jim Harbaugh comes in and says, hey, what we need to do here is tear this thing down to the studs, get rid of these pricey cap hits, try and trade away players, reset completely, then you're probably looking more at a 2025 timeline. If they decide to go somewhere in the middle and try and keep a couple of these guys and be competitive, then you could really see them, contending in 2024. But the one thing I will say is, like, wherever Jim Harbaugh has gone, like, he has inherited teams and turned things around like very quickly. It's just what he does. And you can go to San Francisco when he got there in 2011, his first stint in the NFL. They were 6-10 the year before, and kind of a disaster. And the next season, he brought them to 13-3 in an NFC Championship game. So it's not out of the question, but a lot of it depends on what the timeline is. Like, what do they think this is going to be? Do they feel like resetting the roster this offseason will give them the best opportunity to build it the way they want to heading into 2025 and beyond? Or do they want to be competitive next year? The one thing I will say overarching all of this is that when you have the quarterback and Justin Herbert, you got a chance to be competitive, and that's always going to be the case as long as he's the quarterback of the Los Angeles Chargers.
Daniel, that's actually exactly what I was just going to say. I think without a doubt, between Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick, Justin Herbert is the most talented quarterback he will have ever worked with in the NFL. So when you have those two in place, how do you see that marriage working between Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert? Jim Harbaugh yesterday or the day before saying he was starstruck when he first met Justin Herbert. Do you think that is something that could be ridiculously fruitful, or is that something that could flame out at some point?
No, I think it's going to be great. I mean, you couched it correctly because you said the most talented quarterback in the NFL. He did coach Andrew Luck at Stanford, and right. I think Andrew Luck and Justin Herbert are comparable in terms of that level of talent. The one thing that always sticks out to me when I'm talking about this specific thing, because a lot of people have obviously asked me about what they think, what I think the Harbaugh-Herbert relationship is going to be like. System stability. That is the most important thing when you're discussing this topic. Like, Justin Herbert is about to have his fifth offensive coordinator his fourth offensive coordinator in his fifth NFL season. And even going back to Oregon, like, he had 3 offensive coordinators in his time at Oregon. So he hasn't really had that system stability. He had Joe Lombardi for his first 2 years with Brandon Staley. They fired him, went to Kellen Moore. Before that, he had Shane Steichen. And so you're talking about 4 different offensive coordinators here. For most of Justin Herbert's career, he's had to relearn a new offense every offseason. What Jim Harbaugh does coming in, now he's not the play caller, but he was a quarterback in the NFL, and he has very specific offensive philosophies and beliefs. And so you're going to have some stability in terms of how the team wants to play offensively year over year. And that's going to be monumental for Justin Herbert. Now, he's an incredibly intelligent human being. He has high football IQ. He has the capacity, certainly, to learn a new offense every single year and still be successful. But are you maximizing the player by doing that? The answer to that question is no. And so I think by bringing in a coach that's going to have a set offensive system and offensive belief year over year is going to allow them to build this thing. And we even talked to Justin after the season. I asked him, a general question, because I didn't want to get into specifics, but I was like, how important is that? Like, as a quarterback, like what does it do for you when you do have that offensive stability? And he's a man of few words, but he really went in depth about how important this is. Showing up in April for OTAs and being able to build on what you already did last season, as opposed to getting a new playbook and having to relearn it, like that kind of thing is going to be really important. And I think that's going to be the biggest benefit of the Harbaugh-Herbert relationship moving forward.
Senior writer for The Athletic, Daniel Popper, joining the show covering the Chargers. Daniel R. Popper on Twitter. Quick question about roster construction. Khalil Mack, Keenan Allen, both guys who are on expiring deals this upcoming season. What do they do with guys like that?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I really dove into it deep in a story yesterday. As you're aware, Rich, like the cap isn't necessarily a real thing. Like there's a lot of different strategies you can use to maneuver cap hits and navigate through certain situations. So like I was alluding to earlier, like what they do with those two players is really going to depend on what timeline they want to be on. With them specifically, you're talking about two players that are older. Khalil Mack is entering his age 33 season. Allen will be entering his age 32 season. However, they're both in unique situations because they're both coming off career seasons, which you don't normally see at this stage of careers typically for players. So Khalil Mack, obviously the 17 sacks last season, a career high, but the way that he played in all phases of the game as a run defender, obviously rushing the passer, not just sacks, but also the amount of pressure that he was able to put on opposing quarterbacks. Like watching his film, I still feel like he has a ton of good football in front of him. And the same can be said for Keenan Allen, who, at his age is still able to put a ton of pressure on defenses with his movement skills, with his route running. Like he's still, as far as getting open in the NFL, he's still one of the best in the league. So do the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh look at those two players and say, hey, like, let's try and figure out a way to keep these guys around. Let's move some of these cap hits around with either void years or extensions. Or do they say, hey, like, let's sell high on these two guys. Like they're getting a little bit older. What are the chances that they're going to put up numbers like they did last year and see if they can shop them on the open market? Like, can they get a 3rd round pick for Keenan Allen? Can they get a 4th round pick for Khalil Mack? Like these are the things that they're going to be going through as far as what's our timeline? Do we want these guys to be a part of it for next year? Can we extend them? How much good football do they have in front of them? How can we, make sure we're paying for future production and not for past production? All of that stuff is going to be part of the calculus. And obviously we'll learn more here in the coming days and weeks. Jim Harbaugh's talking on Thursday, and we'll get our first real idea of like how he's viewing these players. And you can include Joey Bosa and Mike Williams in there as well, two guys that also have big cap hits next season, are veteran players.
Hey, Daniel, Jim Harbaugh helping out the Chargers here on a PR standpoint, getting a lot of fans excited, getting people who maybe weren't Charger fans to start looking towards the Chargers. We've seen the groundwork laid out by the Chiefs. So tell me what you think of this. Justin Herbert, Selena Gomez.
Okay.
Solid relationship right there.
I can pretty much guarantee you that Justin Herbert will never be in the kind of public relationship that Travis Kelce is in. You can book that.
Big mistake.
Take it to the bank.
Bad move. But what if it's Selena Gomez?
Or even Sofia Vergara? Maybe
Nicki Minaj?
Okay. Well, yeah. Oh my God.
Single? I think she's single.
I mean, any chance?
Isn't Justin Herbert dating like an older woman anyways?
Look, relationships.
They fizzle.
They fizzle. Yeah. There's a fizzle factor. Yeah. Daniel, right? There's a fizzle factor?
Well, I would say, so I don't know. You guys are onto something there. I don't think Justin Herbert's ever going to be involved in something like that. But like, it is a good point that, yes, this hire was about winning ball games. Yes, this hire was about, trying to contend for a Super Bowl. But the hire of Jim Harbaugh was also to try and make some waves, to create some buzz.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be their 8th season in Los Angeles.
I see where you're going. I see where you're going, Daniel.
Yeah, time's ticking as far as making their etching out their place in the Los Angeles market.
Jim Harbaugh is going to start dating Nicki Minaj.
That's
Probably.
it.
I got
now
it.
you
I
got
got it. I got it.
By the way,
I
she's
understand.
32, he's 25, so older woman, not really.
Yeah.
Dude, imagine like they came out with their own line of khakis. Like, that's his trademark.
Right, come on.
It's a Minaj.
No comment on any of
Okay,
this. I want to be far
No,
away.
Daniel, we are going to attribute every quote from this interview directly to Daniel R. Popper. No, we're kidding.
No.
Buddy, we appreciate you putting up with us. Thanks so much. We'll do it again soon if you'll allow it.
Absolutely, guys. Appreciate you having me.
There he goes. Daniel Popper covers the Chargers with The Athletic, and a good sport. All right, coming up next, bottom of the barrel. Also, again, if you missed it, huge announcement on Friday. We'll give you all the details on the other side. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. But first, I want to talk to you guys about a very special place right here in San Diego. It's called the Man Zone at Golden Triangle Plastic Surgery.
Man zone.
Man Zone.
Tell me more about this.
Okay, listen, it's founded by a brilliant man. Some people say the best man. Some people say he's a double board certified plastic surgeon. I mean, I would say that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the board said that.
The board actually certified
Yeah,
him twice. They said
Crazy.
2 times. The first time wasn't Dr. Roy David. He's the medical director of the Man Zone. You might be saying, hey, Rich, what's the Man Zone? I'm so glad you asked. The Man Zone is the place I went, and now I can do 1,000 push-ups without even taking a breath. I turn purple. It's awful to watch, and you think I'm going to die the whole time, but 1,000 consecutive push-ups. You say, how'd you do that? Well, I boosted my T levels.
Mhm.
So I walked into the Man Zone. I was like, hey, is this a zone for men? And Dr. Roy David's like, you came to the right place, buddy.
Did you see the sign?
And
Man Zone.
He goes, what can I do you for, fella? And I said, well, turns out I want to get my T levels checked.
Is there like a oak bar that you walk up to and
Yeah.
he's just there drying a glass?
Medical director Dr. Roy David is just cleaning out a bar glass. He's like, what can I get you, partner? And I'm just like,
Why the long face?
I said, well, I'm a little down in the dumps, sir. Gosh, I just wake up and I'm feeling like I'm in a mental fog and I just can't get the energy to get back in the gym. He goes, have you ever had your T levels checked? And I said, no, Dr. Roy David, I haven't. He's like, well, maybe we should check out your testosterone.
Well, my favorite part of that was after you got tested, when he went to show you the results, they were on like a brass board across the room, and he pulls out a 6-shooter and they turned around so you could read it. It was spectacular.
It was really impressive. We're like, do you do this for every client? He's like, yep, we go through a lot of brass. Anyway, so Dr. Roy David over at the Man Zone, he tested my testosterone, and there's a range, right? It goes from 300 to 1,000. I was in the low 3s, and he was like, well, there it is. That's what's going on. You're lower on T than you should be. And so if you're like me, if you're waking up with mental fog, right, you're not feeling quite like yourself, and you're a man in your 60s, your 50s, your 40s. For me, I'm 37. So don't be ashamed. It's something that everybody goes through at some point in their life, and you can optimize your health as a man at the Man Zone with Dr. Roy David. So go get your T levels checked. That's the most important thing. Free consultation. They'll check you out. They'll find out if you're a candidate. And I suggest this for everyone. You should probably get your T levels checked once a year, once you get into your late 30s. That's themanzone.com. Check out the Man Zone at themanzone.com. Coming up next, a major announcement if you missed it, and bottom of the barrel on the other side.
Brock Purdy is that dude. Hell yeah, I'd want to play with Brock Purdy.
Wait, did everyone hear? Did everyone hear that?
I missed it. I missed it.
You want to hear it again? Okay, everyone shut up.
Brock Purdy is that dude. Hell yeah, I'd want to play with Brock Purdy.
That's the voice of TJ Hushmanzada, who joined us earlier on the show. FS1 analyst, Fox Sports Radio host, and a former NFL wide receiver, I believe of 14 years. He played for a long time in the league. He was incredible. Caught passes from Carson Palmer. He won a lot of football games, caught a lot of footballs.
From Victorville.
I think I'm going to change my text tone.
Good.
You know,
So every time anyone texts you, it says,
hang on.
Sorry, you want it again?
Yeah, it's that
you
one.
know, for your text, you could probably just shorten it to Brock Purdy is that dude.
Brock Purdy is, and I've said this before on this show, a guy who's played now a lot of great football at the NFL level. And he's had a couple of bad performances, and people have really jumped down his throat because, unfortunately,
People?
yeah,
You two.
me.
We're the only one?
What did I say? I said he played a crummy game against the Packers. Did he not?
Yeah, he
Hell of a last drive.
Yeah. Oh no.
yeah, no, yeah, we're
That was a great last drive, but he played a crummy game against the Packers.
Performance on this last drive.
It is so crazy. I said this, I think I said this yesterday. I definitely said it over the weekend. I had no idea how nauseating 49ers fans are. I learned something very new this season.
Good Lord.
Okay. So the big announcement before we get to bottom of the barrel is we are throwing a tailgate party, boys. It's going to be the Big Rich, TD, and Fletch big game tailgate. It's going to happen at KMB Bistro. This is February 9th, the Friday before the big game. So if you are looking for something to do between 6 and 9 in the morning, we're going to do our first ever live show out and amongst the people. KMB Bistro is where Tony Conja's Keg and Bottle, one of his 10 locations is. He's going to be there. Some of our favorite bartenders and past Bar Cart Friday participants are going to be there. We're going to have a bunch of stuff for you to try. Sombreros Mexican food is catering the event. So you're going to get fed. You're going to leave with swag bags. And you can also enter to win great prizes, but you got to show up. If you show up between 6 and 9, we're going to have your name. You're going to sign up with the promo team. We're going to have your name, and we're going to draw names out of the hat to win great prizes like a 65-inch TV.
7 and 9. They got to be there at 7. We're going to be broadcasting at 6, but if they want to sign up for this thing, it's between 7 and 9.
Yeah, you better.
Yeah,
and you better.
7 and 9.
If you show up at 6:55,
Nope.
we will fight you in the parking lot.
Punches will be thrown.
Yeah, we will have tigers guarding the entrances. But yeah, you show up at 7. That's fine.
Did we confirm the Tigers?
No, we still are working on the tigers.
Okay,
and if we don't get those, I hear a goat might be available out in Alpine.
Is Lucy the Christmas goat going to stop by the tailgate?
Yes.
We got this text from the 858. Fletch, is it harder to train your pup or to keep these two focused? I have no control over anything that happens on this show. It's much easier to train my pup.
858.
Rich
Wait.
doing an ad read is like, the show's lost. It's over.
Sorry.
We're going to talk about the man zone for 10 minutes and run out of time in our final segment.
I know.
But you got to talk
Thank you
about
to
the
TJ
man zone.
Hushmanzada. Thank you to Daniel
So much
Popper for jumping on the
testosterone.
show. Thank you to Rich. Thank you to TD. Thank you to the Texters, the Roadies, the Dogs, the Hangers, the Bangers. We will meet you all and see you all next Friday at KMB Bistro. Get there at 7 o'clock in the morning. You get a chance to win a 65-inch TV and a gift card to the aforementioned Man Zone.
That's right. The man zone.
Among
not just-
other prizes.
It's not just a clever name.
No.
It's a zone for men. Anyways.
4 seconds left.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll see you
Get
tomorrow.
your Neuralink transmitter. They're out.